look good with that shirt. Nice. Yeah.
Good morning. It is Monday, July 27th, 2026, and we're here for our county administrator update. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. So let's see. I don't have anything on consent that I need to discuss unless you guys have any questions. But I'll start with the deputy clerk of the board for anything that she has.
We have a deputy clerk of the board starting today.
Woohoo!
We heard from Krista that they anticipate she'll be released to our office around 2. So my plan was to take her on a tour of the FREDA offices this afternoon, maybe tomorrow, depending on what time looks like. And then we'll be locked at the hip for a week or 2, but I'm very excited. And I laid eyes on her this morning. She's here, so so excited.
Just want to thank you, Caitlin, for the many weeks that you've been solo and getting everything done. So thank you.
Yes, definitely.
It'd be very nice to have another person.
Mm-hmm. I can report that she is in HR. So, she is here. So
Doing her orientation.
yeah, we're doing our orientation. So
I have 2 other quick things. The first one is I've got an email from the PUD looking for confirmation from the commissioners that you'll be in attendance at their August luncheon. It is on August 25th. It's from noon to 1. 25th is a Tuesday. I'll follow up with Rob later since he's not online, but it will be at Tequila's.
Oh, we're going back to our old spot.
Yes.
The 25th.
Yes, from noon to 1. And then they'd asked to have, she said, please have your group place and pay for their own orders. I will do the same for my group. So whenever you guys know what you want, let me know and I can place an order with the county card. I'll follow up as it gets closer too.
Okay.
And the last thing I had was we received an email from Kim Allen. The courts were notified by AOC that the IRS issued Bulletin 2026-29, which revised the mileage reimbursement rates. So there's an increase from 0.725 to 0.76 or 76 cents per mile. We normally present these to the commissioners when the GSA updates the mileage rates, but the AOC put out a statement saying that they have heard that GSA is in the process of updating the rates. Do you guys want me to just go ahead and put that on consent, or do you want to wait until GSA officially updates?
I would say wait till let's do it the way we've always done it. Kevin?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Is Rob online? I just want to make sure we
I don't know why they would jump ahead.
Well, when we do things differently, we create problems. So
Well, they should be waiting for GSA.
but we'll be anticipating that increase.
That's weird.
Those are the things I had.
That's all you have. Okay. So Jim McCarron from the Fairgrounds is here to discuss nonprofit food vendor commissions at the Fairgrounds. I'll go ahead and let you do that.
So one of the things we need to consider is we're making investments into these booths. A lot of the nonprofits don't have the funds to invest large amounts of capital into the booths, and so we have started doing that. We're tackling 2. We tackled 1 last year. We're tackling another one, the Lioness booth, this year. And as I got to thinking about it, the question came to mind. We actually were working with the first booth to charge a 20% commission instead of 15%, which is the typical nonprofit commission. I'm not sure that's the best way, so I want to put together a proposal that maybe looks at coming up with a lease, equipment lease rate that we then apply to those booths with which we are upgrading. A lot of the upgrades are fire and health related. They're probably larger amounts of money than a typical nonprofit, but we still need to recoup that taxpayer funding, I think. And so I'm suggesting that I'll put a plan together to look at a lease rate for the booths for the equipment. The other problem with us providing the equipment is who's responsible for maintenance if there's an issue with a piece of equipment breaking. If it's leased back to the organization, then we would be responsible. if we're allowing them to use it based on their regular commissions, then I don't feel it's our responsibility to maintain the equipment. But then I also am worried about long-term, how is the equipment being kept up to date? So we're making substantial investments in bringing those booths up to health and fire standards. And so if you're okay, I would like to put a plan together and bring it forward for you all to consider, where we come up with some kind of lease rate, whether it's a percentage of the total investment into the booth as far as equipment goes, or it's a flat rate per booth. That way we can recoup some of the taxpayer funding. And I think that's probably the most fair way to do it, rather than it just increasing a commission rate. Although I will tell you that 90% of the fairs across the state of Washington charge the same rate for nonprofits and for-profit booths,
And that's
20% or more.
Got it, so more 25.
Yeah.
If you did a lease, would that lease be for a year? Or
No,
would it
I
be
think
just
you
for the
do.
month of August?
Do long-term leases, like a 5-year equipment lease with a payout per year at the time of fair. That'd be my suggestion.
Have you talked to other fairs about how, when you have booths that aren't used all year and you're leasing them out and they have equipment, that it's a slippery slope, right? Where, we own the structure, but they have the equipment inside, but if something happens, it's on our fairgrounds, we have some liability there. How do they draw that line between who maintains it, who doesn't, and who's liable? And have you talked to anybody? Because I know we've struggled with that over the years as we've.
Yeah, and I don't have a good answer for that one. I wish I did, but I could talk to Spokane County, and that's really one of the ones that I would look to provide some guidance, because they have some pretty nice booths. But I know a lot of, like the Line S is a good example. They don't have the capital to invest in the booth. And so for us to make an investment in that, reaping the commissions, we still have an equipment cost there. But I think if it's leased, then we would be responsible for the equipment maintenance. And that way I can assure that it's operational at the time of fair. Another good example is Block 40 right now. I'll tell you, they are struggling because they have 2 ice cream machines that don't work. And so last year they were able to get loaners, but again, that's a $25,000 to $30,000 investment to get new ice cream machines. And so in that case, do we fund those machines and then put an equipment lease back in place to try to help that organization? So,
well, I guess I struggle, because if I'm going to be a food vendor, I don't expect the fairgrounds to come up with the equipment. Okay, it gets on the vendor who wants to do that. And I get that it's a nonprofit, but I feel like they need some skin in the game. I'm not going to start a business and go, hey, Jim, I need ice cream machines. I need this.
right.
I just.
And I think the other
Because
thing.
they do have rental agreements with other, like the restaurant supply. They do lease agreement. I don't know if it's rental, but they do have lease agreements with them.
I think nonprofits struggle to get approved for those lease agreements, though, in a lot of cases. The other problem is we're going to start to see some of the service organizations backing away from the fairgrounds, at which time I'm guessing for-profit organizations would come in, and we would definitely either come up with a significant lease amount for those with equipment, or they would have to supply their own equipment. So
Yeah, I'm just trying to look online, kind of how that works here.
well, like I said, most fairgrounds charge a heck of a lot more than we do.
Oh, and in regards to the Block 40 building, whose machines were those to begin with?
They were theirs, and then last year they got loaners through Jesse. They came from, I think, Safeco Field. So, yeah, that was it. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do this year. They haven't told me yet their plan, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, they're making money off those machines. They should be
Least.
planning ahead.
Mm-hmm. And they raised their rates, so I think they're probably in a better financial position now than they were. So my hope is to come up with a plan and bring that forward, if that sounds like something you want me to consider doing. I just think we need to somehow recoup some of our costs.
Yeah, Puyallup is 24% for general food, 31% for specialty items like ice cream, Central Washington Fair, 25% gross sales. It looks like they keep the same.
Most
they
fairs
don't
are the
charge.
same for profit.
Grant County is 15 and 20. So
We're a little low. versus everybody else.
Yeah.
I think most of them I looked at was 20 to 25.
And I'd feel better about the investment if everybody was paying the same. But because we would recoup our money in commissions then.
Uh-huh.
We do make good money off I mean, some of the booths make darn good money for the fairgrounds too, recoup our costs, so.
But I feel like it's hard to charge one vendor the same percentage if he's bringing his own food his own station and his own food vendor, and then we are supplying a building
Mhm.
with all the, I think there needs to be more.
And we don't charge a lease rate other than garbage and electrical fees for buildings.
But
It's the only thing we charge.
when you're looking at the disparity between, I'm bringing my own food truck in, you've got a building with all the equipment in it, or most, I don't know if it has all the.
And free
equipment.
labor, in most cases for the nonprofits.
Right, and not only that, you're providing a space for those people to bring their trailer in to make money.
Right.
Money that they wouldn't make otherwise.
But, yeah.
That's my thought. You got
So-
5 days of good customers.
I'll put a plan together then and bring it forward. You guys
Okay,
can,
I mean, I think we don't want to run our vendors out, but.
No.
we need to be.
but we want to make sure we're recouping some of our tax dollars that we've spent.
And no matter how we do it, it's gonna be slow, right? I mean,
What's that?
equipment, it's gonna be slow,
Oh, yeah, it's gonna,
to recoup
it'll
it
take
because-
long after
Yeah.
I'm gone to continue to upgrade these booths. But if we have a plan in place now, then the next 10 years, we can decide if that's the right.
So Jim, do any of those come like for Flannel Fest or anything like that? Can they do
Some
that?
of them do, yeah. Mosaic Ice and Snow, for instance, they come do Flannel Fest. I wouldn't be surprised if the TLH booth, the Homesley booth doesn't come
Yeah.
for Flannel Fest. We invite them. Open up for other interim events.
Speaking of that, how do you handle nonprofit? Because
For what?
they've asked for a 15% versus a 20% nonprofit for their food because they're nonprofit.
How do I handle? They're contractually, every booth has a contract.
And their obligations.
Well, we got a letter.
Right, so that's the TLH booth asking for a change, and I think I would defer on that until we have a plan in place. That's one of the booths that we need to decide, how do we want to recoup our investment in that?
Oh, do we have a lot of,
That's something we just redid.
We
so what did you
spent
put in that booth?
probably $60,000 worth of equipment.
And that was just fire, or was that?
No, that's refrigeration, that's cooking equipment, that's everything.
Oh, okay. See, that just
Hood.
feels like,
That's hood, fire suppression, hood, everything. It's
What-
fully upgraded to health and safety standards.
I would think that one would have a higher charge because, again, you're comparing that to a food truck that comes in here that spent their own $60,000 on upgrades.
Right, so the question would be, do we just charge the same percentage as we do for a profit, or do we charge an equipment lease? That's kind of where I'm.
I think we just charge the 20% and they're gonna have to figure it out on their end.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a business owner,
And it's-
you up your prices.
It's not a huge amount too. If you look at $50,000 in sales, which would probably be a little bit on the high end, that's a $5,000 extra added cost. So for that, or I mean, $2,500 added cost. So if you're at 25,000 in sales at 5%, it's $1,250. 50,000 in sales at 5% is $2,500. So it's only an extra $2,500 in fees or commissions.
And that booth is a good example of the comment I just made, about where you draw that line. So, you've got a booth, we put $60,000 into it and it's got a fire suppression hood.
Right.
We put that equipment in there. Who should be responsible for maintaining that? That hood needs to be certified every year. So if it's not, if we lease that back and we expect other people to take care of it, how do we ensure
Yeah,
that
I
that stuff
don't
is
think
done? And if
it's
something
really done.
happens, where's our liability, right? That's
Right.
that risk line that, how.
I'd feel better if we were taking care of it.
And
Yeah,
that's
it's our
what kind of what I
buildings.
pushed for all along, was like, that those are our structures, our buildings. We,
Our equipment.
we're gonna be the only ones who can feel comfortable with our risk, so.
Well, if one of them catches fire, they're all gonna catch fire, so,
Yeah,
because they're that close, so we're better off maintaining that stuff ourselves.
Well, I feel if we put equipment in, we probably should not be, we should be charging more than 15%.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
And it's still gonna take a long time to recoup, but,
What is that, gifting of government funds?
Yeah, if you're not comparable and not
Redoing that,
recouping
yeah.
some of that money, then that would be considered gifting. So. Okay, I'll put a formal plan together and bring it to consent in the future through Tom. Any other questions?
Jim.
Make sure you
Thanks-
see you
thanks
come.
for Saturday's event, that was
Yeah, well, we had probably over 200 people there, so it was good. Yeah, it was really good. Thanks for coming out. It was fun to see all the kids get excited for fair. So,
Yeah. It's always good.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
And sorry for wearing shorts to the commissioners meeting.
I didn't even notice.
It's that time of year.
Be a public flogging later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Jim.
For the record, we do have a commissioner that wears shorts too.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, he does all the time.
Yeah, he does.
My legs look better than his.
Basket.
Who's that? Who's comparing? Yeah, so. Okay, so, moving forward, I'm looking forward to the mid-year update by Renew. I'd like to remind the commissioners, when I started doing the updates as your county administrator and sending weekly updates, that is to keep you informed of everything happening with the departments that are direct reports. If this, if you like what Renew does today, if that's something we want to schedule, like, every quarter or every 6 months, it's easy to do. I just have to know. I haven't really gotten any feedback from the board about that. I've asked a couple of times. I'm just asking again, putting it in front of you. I know Renew is looking forward to doing a mid-year update and just talking about stuff, just making sure you all are staying connected. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the Commissioner's Tourism Work Session. I do plan to attend that. We've done some discussions about that. I'm going to move to the jail a little bit. So throughout the 2-year build at the jail, one of the first conversations, and this, let me frame this the right way. This is not a knock on Joey or Gary or anybody else. It's just what is. But at the very beginning of the project, one of the first conversations we had was with Tracy Hill about evidence. She was really concerned about evidence, and how much space they had and how much storage they had. So I wanted to make sure that they were set up for the future, and we did, to the point where, it was kind of funny. We had our first set of drawings come out. I sent, and it was just a 1-pager, and it had the evidence room, and I sent it, and Tracy came directly to my office like an hour later and said, "We got to talk to this architect because that's not big enough." And I was like, "Do you realize how big that is?" Just seeing it on a piece of paper. And I went out to the back parking lot and I put tape down in the parking lot. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's huge." So, visualizing how much evidence storage was actually there, but point being, it was a conversation from day one, right? Here we are trying to move into the jail, and we can't move our evidence tech out because none of us were aware, on the facility side, as we built this, that there was an accreditation requirement for a separate security system within the evidence storage area of the jail, which is already really secure. But here we are. So they are going through that right now. It's going to be expensive. We'll use, it's a requirement for them to use it. So we'll use, yes.
I just want to make sure, is it a state requirement or is it their accreditation? Because they don't have to be accredited. They choose to be accredited, which is kind of a different layer of.
That I didn't know.
So
I'll ask that.
Joe's looked into the accreditation. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of a layer that we've
So
taken. So just make sure that is a state or their own.
Well, let me
accreditation.
ask you this. So tomorrow morning at 9:30, you got the sheriff's office update.
Mhm.
So the reason I'm having this conversation with you now is because I spoke with Joey on Thursday. He called me. They have been working with Convergent, who does all of our badge card readers and our internal security, and a company called APS, who can also do this. But the cost is well over $100,000, between $130,000 and $163,000 to get the security system in there. So if it's a requirement, if it's a requirement, then jail bond funds, the construction of the jail should be used to fund that, build it, get it working and operating, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. If it's not required, well, then maybe that's a different conversation. So my point was to let you know that this was coming, and Joey Crete was going to talk to you guys about it. Yes, please go ahead.
The Sheriff's Office agency accreditation is a voluntary professional credential managed by a state level or national professional organization. Okay.
So my discussion with Joey was, you went out and you got two costs, right? You got they did kind of a procurement, but you're going to have to put that to consent. So have a conversation with Joey tomorrow about this, and then a consent, approve or deny. and we'll go forward. And that's the only thing that's keeping Janesy from moving out. So I thought it was a requirement, my mistake. I didn't
Well, and
realize that
please
it was.
follow through because I know
Yeah.
I believe it was Tom Jones
Yeah.
wanted to be accredited. We've never been really accredited, but I think it is a different level.
Right. I thought we were. I thought we were currently accredited.
Yes, Tom Jones started that
Yeah.
process, I believe.
So,
it was
I don't know
Sheriff
what the separate security system within the,
So
the
I don't
current
think it's
evidence
a
is.
state thing. I
Okay.
think it's this accreditation.
All right.
So we may be able to bypass, but I guess we need to look at how important is this accreditation
Yeah.
through these
Well, I guess I would
state or
ask, so,
national professional organizations, so.
yeah, I would ask the county commissioners to ask our elected sheriff how important it is. I don't necessarily have an issue with it as part of, if it's an accreditation standard that, if it's beneficial, if it is, I guess that's the best word, beneficial to the
But
constituents.
currently, they're on the same security camera as all the inmates.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would think that that's pretty secure.
It is. So, well, there you go. So that's what's out
Sorry
there.
to shoot that down, Tom.
No, well, no,
But
for me, you're not shooting it down. I'm just bringing it to you
yeah.
to let you know that it's coming. So, and if
What
it's,
would the cost have been if we'd done it before the place was already built?
considerably cheaper, because it would have been part of the design. It would have just been, you had all the trades on the job. They were pulling all the creating the pathways, all the conduit runs, everything, so it probably would have been,
And we're at $100,000 for this camera system?
well, I don't know what kind of system it
Oh,
is.
okay.
It's not necessarily cameras, it's just a
Or
security system.
Okay,
And I think it was between 130 and 160.
which is an employee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
And
it's a
money's
lot of
tight.
money.
Well, money's tight.
So, yeah, not shooting it down for me. I'm like, again,
Well, I
I'm
just
just,
have more questions, so.
Yeah.
Than I have answers.
oh, that's okay. So that's coming. And Joey, I'm sure is going to bring that up tomorrow. I'll be attending the Budget and Finance Committee meeting. I don't typically go to those, but I do plan to attend this one as Holly is leaving us from Coa Hills. I'm sure, I don't know if you all read her email. She is no longer going to be taking part. Yep. Coa Hills is pulling themselves out of this process. But she mentioned in her email, she was excited about Tom Gaines's upcoming involvement, which I don't really know what that upcoming involvement is. So I will discuss that with the Budget and Finance team. And I've heard a number of other things that I just want to check in on. I want to see how Shannon's doing. And then I do want to see if, I've heard it said a couple of times that she wants to create reports that department heads can pull themselves for expense and revenue. And I'm just hoping to get an update on that to see if that is coming, because that would be pretty awesome. So, later on in the week also is, I believe, Thursday evening. Let me just double check. Association of Grant County Cities and Towns meeting. Rob Jones is supposed to attend. I was planning on attending that 6 to 8. I have never attended one of these. I've been asked by a couple of city administrators why I don't go to that. In my county administrator monthly meeting Thursday, the county administrator for Benton County was at their annual conference for the Washington Association of Cities and Counties. They have a 2 or 3 day annual deal down at Tri-Cities. And I asked him, I said, do you really get anything out of that when you go? Is it worth it? And he goes, well, I don't go to all of them. He goes, I go sometimes every couple of years. He goes, you have to go just to remind them that counties is in the name and they are a part of it, but they tend to believe it's just an entirely full-on city organization. And then the county administrator for Kitsap County absolutely loves it. I'm not advocating that I go. I don't really see a need for me to go. I do want to go to their meeting, which is, I believe, in Worden. I think locally it's really important for all of us to be networked. I enjoy the networking with Ray and things with Rob Carlindsey are getting better. So anytime we can keep our immediate Grant County folks connected, I think that's a good thing. So I am planning on going to that on Thursday night. The Eastern Washington Council of Governments for you is this week. I will send you, Commissioner Burgess, a couple of talking points. First is the Public Defenders Interlocal agreement idea, about,
For
you know,
Bob.
yeah,
Okay.
so that all of the eastern Washington counties can maybe sign an interlocal and help each other with these conflict cases that we continue to run into. You know, instead of having to search out private attorneys, you might be able to use a public defender from another county and, you know, vice versa. It's definitely worth exploring. As I've brought this up in administrator meetings, they all like the idea. Even the Office of the Public Defender thought that was a pretty good idea. Wants to follow up and see if we get any traction with it. Interestingly, you know, he was, when we met with the Office of the Public Defender, he was talking about how they recruit for counties. I didn't know that they did that, and most of their county administrators seemed skeptical. And then when I talked to Brett, he said they recruit for them all the time and actually do a pretty good job. So Brett is in communication, you know, it seems good communication with the Office of the Public Defender, especially when it comes to trying to find attorneys for us and public defenders. So that's a good story. The other thing I'll ask you to take to those commissioners is if they have any appetite to support an IT affiliate group at Wasac. I know that Derek is asking me to look at this. We all think it's a good idea to have all the IT directors get together at Wasac and discuss all things IT. A lot of people are surprised that they don't have that affiliate group, but it comes down to support and money. It's another body you're sending and that kind of thing. So I'll put that on a little bullet list with a little paragraph you can read, and you can kind of gauge their interest, you know, and I'll take that to Derek at Wasac. So that'd be great.
Yeah, just give me whatever you want me to take, and I'll
Okay.
take it.
Let's see, I'll get single point of entry. Yes, no, single point of entry. So this has been contentious, obviously. I've updated you numerous times on this, but we are getting down to a crunch time with August. If DAHP and the National Environmental Protection Agency, NEPA, didn't approve of this by August, we were in chance of, we could lose the grant. So, but we had an email from NEPA this morning saying, good news, everything is passed. Our sticky point here is DAHP. Simply because, so if you look at the historical record of the courthouse, it mentions the connection to the annex. Not in any historical way, just that one year the county added an annex and they attached it. Because of that sentence, they consider this building part of the historical register.
And it's so beautiful.
Nobody else that I have talked to thinks or believes that that is legitimate. But we're hostage, right? We're being held hostage. So the email, though, was great news. The Section 106 review requirements have been met for Grant 15 BPGA, blah, blah, blah. As we received concurrence from, this is a new acronym, the Washington SHPO, on the proposed project. This is a gentleman that is working at DAHP who was leaving for 30 days vacation today. So we needed to get it done. So now here's what we have to do. Please provide a list of floodplain mitigation measures, both design elements and construction processes. These will be needed to complete your authorization. You may use the following list as a starting point. These are suggested common mitigation measures. The proposed project description below will take place in a 100-year floodplain categorized by FEMA as flood zone AO, which requires these mitigation measures. Follow the 2023 Grant County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Develop an evacuation plan or follow an established evacuation plan for the courthouse complex. Limit construction to previously disturbed areas to minimize impacts on floodplain areas. Ensure positive grading away from the new enclosed entry structure so that is created so that ponding does not occur at the entry point. Elevate all utility systems, outlets, and x-ray machines at least 1 to 2 feet above the mapped floor depth, meaning we're going to have to raise the whole thing. Use flood-resistant construction materials for the proposed new entryway. Install flood-proof doors to prevent water intrusion. Seal all wall penetrations and utility conduits to prevent water intrusion. Clear stormwater drains and culverts around the proposed enclosed entryway and maintain them so the stormwater paths are not blocked. Install drains at the entrance of the new enclosed entryway structure. Clean up loose soil or debris from the area of disturbance during construction periods so sediment is not mobilized during rainfall. cover soil stockpiles during a rainstorm event to prevent sedimentation of the floodplain, install silt fencing or straw wattles along the downslope, limits of disturbance to prevent sediment, stabilize and revegetate disturbed ground not covered with fill or structures as soon as possible to minimize erosion. All of these things are going to have to be looked at, and every time what we've learned is we'll say that we did 3, and they'll say, what are you doing about the rest of them? And then we'll say, okay, this is what we're doing about the rest of them. And then they say, well, what about this? So it's this continual cycle. But we have good news from them, so we're moving along. When we go to the Law and Justice Council meeting, or when we have that, I'm going to discuss this. I'm going to discuss, I should have an updated rendering. We sent the rendering of the architect's rendering of what this would look like to DHP. One of the things they said was it looked too good. I'm not kidding. I want you to take away the tablature things that you have up here and the things that make it look like a courthouse, because we don't want it to look too good. It needs to look like, to your point, the annex. It shouldn't look very pretty. They were denying it because the architect had done a nice job. So he's redoing his design and sending it back to DHP so they can look at it and say, yeah, that's uglier, so
We can go ahead.
you can go ahead. I'm not exaggerating.
No, I believe you.
So I'll be discussing that with the Law and Justice Council.
The SHPO is the State Historic Preservation Officer, who's an employee of the.
His name's Geronimo. He's out for 30 days. So let's see. I'll be discussing that. I'm also, Commissioner Jones had mentioned that he'd been receiving a few questions from folks about the cost comparisons between remodeling the current Law and Justice building and building one up there, which at the new jail site, which we had already done before. We know that there's probably a $20 to $25 million difference between building new and remodeling down here, remodeling being cheaper. But the architect is currently working on to refresh that. So I'll be doing that at the Law and Justice Council meeting. Hopefully I will have that. And I'll also be discussing the logistics of a remodel in an operating court environment. Nothing is going to happen. I know we're not going to go out and bond for a new construction project. Nothing's going to happen right away, but we can't not start planning. And that's what I'm going to do with the Law and Justice Council, is engage them and say, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. We need input from all of you. I really need the judges to step up and some of the prosecutors and say, this is what we really need. Right now, they're telling me that their courtrooms are too small, which I really have a difficult time believing. And when you look at current courtroom standards, they are smaller than our superior courtrooms. But all of our prosecutors and judges are saying they're too small. And it's like, yeah, well, even at the new jail site, we would be limited on space to some extent, right? We can't just go nuts.
Yeah, how many times out of the year are they too small?
So my understanding is it's during, like when you have adoption hearings, that'll pack a house, right? Legitimately. So, I mean, everybody wants to see that. And they don't have enough room for some of those hearings. And there's a couple of others that are along those lines that bring people in because the public is truly interested in that. So
Could we have one bigger room that would accommodate something like that?
that was the question we had. So also, when we do the single point of entry, the other thing that I need them to discuss is what we do with the rest of the courthouse. How do we mitigate tailgating and in and out of doors that are not part of the single point of entry, and how it connects? I'm going to have a good rendering of how it connects to the Law and Justice building, because if we do that secure hallway on the second floor, that impacts a current office space. It actually creates more office space when we connect it there. But there's some things that the judges and the clerk have to chime in on when they see that and say, yeah, that works, or that doesn't work, or what have you. So I'm hoping to have that rendering for that Law and Justice Council meeting. So a lot going on there just to start the discussion. and, think about how do we do that. The other big thing that I really need the judges to do, and I think it's just a simple phone call to get approval, but actually doing it are two different things. The current jail, the way the building was built, you have two mechanical rooms. You have a mechanical mezzanine above the jail, and you've got a mechanical basement and right next to like the sheriff's parking lot near maintenance. But they're interconnected. The hydronic piping and the ductwork go between the two buildings. And there's no way to just shut down the jail and not affect services in the courts. So what do I do with the courts when we try and do a remodel? First, it's going to be noisy if we decide to do something with the jail side. And I don't know how the courts will operate with that level of noise. So where do we move the courts temporarily and for how long? And what does that look like? And if it's possible. So that's where I really need some input from the judges. How do we make that work? If I had to evacuate that building for a length of time to do a remodel, where would you hold court?
Kind of what we had to do here. We had to move offices temporarily.
Yeah, but we didn't have to move
Yeah.
Superior courtrooms,
No, but
right?
I know,
So,
I remember
yeah.
when we were remodeling.
and that was difficult.
Mhm.
And that was not the operating courts, so.
Because some people were really excited about it and very positive.
Well, especially when we drip water on their head from the floor above and,
That
yeah,
wasn't a remodel, that was
Work
actually
release.
after.
it's too small.
It's too small for
Yeah,
courtrooms.
that would be hard. Well, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not.
What would be too small?
Work release?
Work release, that might work.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Make that work somehow, just
Somehow.
for temporary.
Yeah, we could look at that.
It's
But
secure.
those conversations, and what does that look like, and who wants to help me look at that, so, they have to take some onus.
I think your new county commissioner wants to really make a decision on this too.
It's just,
Because they'll be here. during
right
the
now, it's just a
transition.
conversation. I don't think any decision's gonna be made for a while.
No, and I think
you
that's
know.
what everybody wants to know what we're doing. And I
Yeah.
told them like, we don't know yet. We're gonna get the jail finished up. We have a coroner's office
Yeah.
and
First, we have to get
we don't know.
the people moved out of that jail.
I think it's happening next month.
You know what, for 10 minutes, speaking of that, I'd like to go into executive session to talk about,
You need a list down there.
I want to talk about the structure and the numbers required to operate. Is that personnel?
You talking about at the new jail?
Yeah.
I don't know that that is necessarily executive session.
I-
It's generalized.
I don't know.
Randy's nodding his head like it's,
Unless you're talking about a specific employee or something, but just in terms of general.
Generalized.
Well, but we kind of are.
is it security? Well, there is a security.
No,
one, but it's national.
never mind. I'll maybe I'll just bring it up in Joey's update, but I think I think we're on the right track and thinking what we were thinking. I have a real issue with hiring a bunch of people to open that
But
jail.
I will say, during the campaign tour, more than one, the sheriff and then more than just the sheriff has said that we do need to staff it so that we can take more individuals, but,
Well, I heard one mention 31 new employees.
oh, yeah, I don't think that has been the number, but we do need to staff, so I think it's more than just the sheriff that has commented, but again, I don't have the inside information, because we were told we'd be able to operate it with the same staff that we currently have, but then we were told when
I think,
they were designing that, the engineers or whoever's designing it, the design team thought that we had more employees than we currently do. So there's
But-
kind of a conflict.
but we've since had a meeting with the architect,
Right.
and Commissioner Burgess was in that meeting with Joe Crete and Phil Coates. And they kind of stopped when we got to the numbers, and it was like, no, we're good. I mean, that's what we came away with, and I think it's the way they're structuring their workforce that's causing this issue.
Oh, I do believe they want, is it the sergeant, some of them who have not worked the floor? I mean, they are currently working the floor, they want to remove them from working the floor. And so I think that's where our problem is, that if you remove
I think you're right.
some of your
I-
staff.
Right.
I
think
agree with
that's
that.
where-
Yeah, I think you're right, because so then what is,
And it's a great wish list, you know, and if the county could afford to do it, you know, as a supervisor, that would be great that they had that ability to not work the floor. But given the current state of finances, I don't think that's.
and I
probably a
think
great
if they
option at the
continue to work
moment,
the
but
floor as they are now,
Yes,
That'll be just fine,
they could open the jail.
yeah.
and
I
the corporal
agree.
position was the other one, and I think there's 4
Was it
corporal.
sergeant and corporal? I think they
Corporal
were
positions
removing
and-
2 positions each shift.
And corporals should only be working at supervisor capacity when a sergeant is not there. So on vacation, sick, then they cover that shift.
So I would think any hiring would be really minimal.
And for every sheriff deputy they want, then they will need,
Sheriff for corrections.
corrections. For every corrections officer, that increases the number of record specialists too. So,
Yeah, weren't they talking about needing 3?
yeah.
3 new
Yeah,
for that position?
yes.
I think we do want to staff, but we have to be able to afford that staffing.
Well, and I think until they prove how much income they're gonna bring in by
Contracts.
contracts, you know, how can we just throw money at them?
Well, I think we
They
have,
have to have some skin in the game as well. They have to prove to us that they're gonna do what they're supposed to do to bring income in.
I think before we contract, we need to take care of our own within Grand County.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds like we've got quite a few
Yeah.
that are turned away.
Okay, that's all I have for the commissioners today.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Anything for me?
I have lots, but it's mostly public works.
You want to get together, you want to set up a meeting later on today and get together and discuss that? I would love to.
I got a few piles here that
Okay, I would
need
love to.
discuss about.
Yeah.
Public works.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's set up a meeting.
maybe later this afternoon.
Okay,
I think we meet with Public Works here.
Yeah, that'll be coming up next. So, other than that, no.
Can you see the schedule? Thank you.
Going to recess until 9:30.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Good morning, it's 9:30 and we're here for a public works update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
everyone.
So, I don't know, you want to talk about Vantage first?
Yeah, I'll give you advantage.
Okay.
So we got the geotech report evaluation and recommendations. I believe that was last Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there. So they did their evaluation on site and provided some recommendations and associated costs. And the basis of it, basically, they do have stability concerns out on Vantage right now on that rock slide. The options they provided, the cost to do those options, they gave us a range of $606,000 to $1.836 million to mitigate all the issues, to make that slope concern kind of go away.
What'd you say, 1.8?
Yeah, 1.836.
So who owns that property?
That's DNR, I think, where the rocks, above the rocks, like that.
So their rocks basically came onto our road.
So it's probably
It's-
part of our right of way.
It's hard to say, it could be part of our right of way. We need to go out there and make sure where our right of way is exactly in that area too. So this also goes down to the Grand County, the PUD's boat launch at the end, so it's affecting them as well.
Yeah, it's part of their permit that they have with the feds is to keep that.
Yeah, they have to, you
Yeah.
can't, you have to, all waterways,
Mhm.
you have to provide waterways to the public water.
Yeah, and I know when Bridge 202 had that problem with the abutment, I think we got about $500,000 in REIT 2. I don't know if there's anything available. This is quite expensive for a road that doesn't connect to anything. I have reached out to the PUD as well, see if we can partner on something, but it is wildly expensive. It's actually a really good report. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but
I don't know, I've seen it.
he did a good job. Other than his anticipated cost, I didn't care for that part, but the rest was good.
I don't know if we have REIT. The problem with our REIT is that we're using it to help fund the war, because I believe we have a little bit of a shortfall for the REIT.
Okay.
It is kind of a lot of our capital funds for running the fairgrounds, so it would pretty much, it would make a big dent or deplete our REIT. What about our 133 economic development? If it is, there's economic development or economic, see, it's more tourism than,
Yeah.
if it provides economic,
And it does get a lot of tourists down there that climb the rocks and use the boat launch.
Yeah, we received a letter about it.
Yeah. And we just got this back. We're, like I say, I reached out to the PUD. We're looking for other possible ways to get some help to get this stabilized. So we just wanted to bring it to your attention. It
wait,
is-
could we vacate the road? Give it to, is it DNR? Is that who owns it?
DNR owns the property where the slide happened. I'm not sure if they go all the way
Yeah.
down
You have a parcel number for it, or?
or,
Could we do that?
I will get that to you,
And
Kevin.
then we would be, since it doesn't connect, it's no longer a connector. The old Vantage Highway used to connect to a bridge.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't connect to anything for us, but it is important for tourism. It's
Uh-huh.
quite busy during the summer. I'm not saying it doesn't
But
have
could they create a
value.
path in? I mean, there's a lot of waterways that you hike in, you no longer drive in.
And that's what,
I'm trying to save us money here. I'm trying to be really creative
But there's a
and,
PUD boat launch at the end of the
There's
road.
the
Yes.
boat launch.
So,
well, the
It
PUD,
affects the
the
PUD more than
PUD
anything.
probably owns part of that ground.
I believe someone might actually use that as access to some shop they have out there too. Like, I think it goes down to the boat launch and then goes up and around south and east. And there's like a little shop that he puts his RV, and I guess he had like ATVs in that shop. That's when James had to go down and let him out. So
Yeah,
one
but
guy will have access
what's the
down there.
street name? Just the old Vantage Highway?
I guess. Yeah, old bench highway. Yeah.
So, I mean, to the point of tourism, isn't that a well-known area for climbing, and that's how
The
they.
feathers, yeah.
yeah, there's some, I forget what they call it, but they like to go down there and there's those basalt pillars and
Feathers or fingers, feathers. Yeah.
feathers. Yeah, it really is quite busy. And the boat launch, you know, it probably gets a lot of use during the summer. It's pretty quiet down there. So you know, when they had the problems with the dam and they had to lower the water, they rebuilt all of it. It's really nice. So, no, all options are on the table now that we have a cost estimate, and Kate's looking for other possible funding sources to contribute to get this open back up safely. So,
REIT's about the only resource facilities has for everything we do for all of the buildings, like all the stuff that, you know, Abel's doing for Public Works and the landfill.
well, and we asked about Reed just because that's what, I think it was $500,000 for Bridge 202, 2 or 3 years ago, whenever we had that problem, but I'm not surprised by his report after we went down and looked at it.
What was the estimate?
It was 606,000 to 1.8. So, it's, yeah, ouch. So it's I don't know if you saw it, but it's a
So
good
I'm trying to look
report.
for the road, the actual road that goes down. I know, that isn't the cheap way, is to get out of a responsibility that we have, but gosh, that's taking a chunk out of our REIT.
Yeah. So, any other questions on that one? I will get you the parcel number.
I'm
So,
gonna figure it out.
okay. So probably next week, you're gonna see an extrusion welder for solid waste. And I'll be asking to buy the we got 3 quotes back, and I'll be asking to buy the one in the middle. Some of the reasons are that is the one recommended by our consultant. The other thing is the cheapest bid does not give us official certification when the training is complete. And we would like to have that for Department of Ecology. We're gonna use this to make repairs to like our leachate pond or the pond for the multi-phase extraction. If it gets a little hole in it, we'll be able to fix them ourselves. We have been using I don't know, a company that is going out of business. So we can't use them anymore. I think it's around $10,000. The lowest bid was around 8. But their training is inadequate. So I just wanted to explain it before I put it on consent. And we'll provide all the documentation when we put it on consent next week. We go now to quote for our scrap metal. We do it about every 2 years. 2 years ago the winner was $140 a ton. So we're doing that soon and get rid of that pile. We're going to talk about humongous projects.
Yeah. So we have that hearing on the 4th. There's been a lot of emails going back and forth on these easements, about doing pedestrian easements. So we have 3 options right now. From my understanding is we either we deny the vacation, and then we'd have another hearing to reopen the road, which would be one of the recommendations. We could extend this hearing until we get the pedestrians easements that is going to be furnished by the owners. So we'd have to extend it out so they have time to get that in there. Or the third one, we accept it as is and only current easements, whatever's in there, like utilities. If we accept the vacation now, that'd be like the only easements that we can have is what's on there currently. So we have 3 options to deal with. I guess it's just what the board want to do.
Well, I think we had talked about if the 2 HOAs would agree to vacate. I mean, we would leave that gate in, but when only one is, the other half still has a road. I feel like it is a huge liability for Grant County, even though it's been there forever. I don't know why there was a road put in, or a gate. If somebody hits that gate, the county is responsible for it. And because we put something in the right of way or in the road, we're also responsible for damages. So my vote would be to remove, if they don't want to vacate or petition to vacate that, then remove the.
Yeah. My recommendation still will not change. It's still going to be denying the vacation and then doing another hearing to remove the gate and reopen the road. Second alternative would be to vacate the entire road. And then if these easements is what they really want, then I haven't heard of that on the north half, if that was official yet, or if they got enough people to
I believe
say
they
yes
are
or no.
They are not in favor of vacating the
That's
road. So
kinda
that's
less.
that portion that we need, the half that we need, the HOA does not. We're confirming, we did get a letter, that the letter that we received is representing the entire HOA, or basically the majority of the vote, and not just one individual who is an HOA board member. So I think we can confirm that, but
So
and
that,
they are not going to.
okay. So my recommendations won't change. Then it's going to be to deny vacation and have another hearing to remove the gate and reopen the road.
We haven't received, because they talked about it the last hearing, they wanted to, if we vacated it, they wanted to have that access for pedestrians. We haven't received that yet, have we?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think they've decided that they do not want to ask for a vacation.
Oh.
So
Okay.
we have
So they
half of a
changed their mind.
vacation.
That's why we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay,
We got a letter. Caitlin, can you forward it to?
she may have.
I got a letter today,
Okay.
this morning.
A different one, but
Oh,
I
another
believe I
one.
did forward you this other one too.
Okay.
That makes it tricky. So then we do need to have a hearing to vacate the gate in the right of way, or since it is,
From my
we
understanding,
didn't put the gate in, so. we
yeah,
should-
if we're denying this vacation is what this hearing's on, then
Yeah.
we need another hearing to remove the gate and reopen the road.
Okay, because there was a hearing to put a gate in. Okay,
Because the request was to vacate the road.
yep, okay. I just want to make sure step 2 needed to happen, but, okay. We have a 1A and 1B if that's the route we go.
We had planned on starting to use HLA for development review today, but we put that off. Seems like there's been a lot of questions. So we put that off until we get those figured out. So our employee that was in the hit and run accident is doing very well, still in Spokane, but recovering very well.
But I'm glad they found everything instead of releasing him.
So,
Yeah.
what's his plans at this point? I understand he may not have a job where he was going. Is he gonna
So we
still-
worked with Decorah and actually rescinded his resignation letter and kept him on as an employee, giving him access to all of his sick leave and while he's going through this. And I don't know, I mean, they sold their house here, they bought a house in Arizona, that's where his wife's been living. I'm not sure what his plans are once he gets out of the hospital. So it's just a really bizarre situation. Thankfully, he's okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, very bizarre.
We have an RFQ for the Highland Pit #2. DNR did an inspection out there and they found some standing water at the pit. They wanted us to do a study on, to make sure it wasn't hydraulically connected to the groundwater. So we just put an RFQ out. We got 2 responses. We are setting up interviews now. And then we'll go from there once we select the qualified
How do they
applicant.
determine that? Just with a test well?
They got maps. They're gonna review historic maps. They're gonna review wells, nearby wells, to kind of see where that groundwater is and do a study off that. One of them mentioned they will go to the site, but a lot of it's not gonna be too much digging. It's just gonna be reviewing all data that's
Where's
available.
this pit at?
I think Electric City.
It's north of Heartline,
Or Heartline.
47 and U. Maybe 47B, somewhere in there.
Not a whole lot of water up there.
no,
There's,
Not sure. I think it rained and then there was water there, so
there's 2 holes there that it's always got water in them. Yeah,
it is one of the higher points in Grant County.
yeah. Every inspection for years it's been there.
Its unofficial name is Highland, so it's bizarre. We'll see what happens, but it was
Underground
required
spring?
by DNR, so. Anything else, Kate, you want to add? So the Liberty Tire agreement that we have on consent, that was, we've been piggybacking off of Yakima County for several years. Yakima County got a new solid waste manager and they asked that we have our own agreement with Liberty Tire, so that's what that is. It went from $248 a ton to, I think it's $379. What we have to pay to
279 or 379?
248 to 379, I believe. It went up substantially. So we'll
Have you
be,
checked with other companies around that?
I think they're about the only one that ever turned in, that ever bid on it. And they come and pick them up and they shred them, and a lot of them get sold to a place on the west side that they burn to generate power. So, but we'll have to adjust accordingly when we finally get done with our rate study. And that should be very close. I had a meeting with them last week. There's very few things they needed. Sorry if you can sense my frustration, but yeah. Hopefully next month we'll have have it completed. Yeah, any questions?
Nope. We're obviously in the wrong business. We need to be collecting tires.
Yeah, that was a considerable jump. And we're charging, I think it's $5 a tire for vehicle tires and plus the weight when you come across the scale. So I did all the math using it does for refrigerators. So the rate study, they didn't change the cost of the refrigerator. So I calculated it myself and I used $140 of scrap. I used 225-pound average for refrigerators and we're getting 725 now. By my calculations, we should be getting 30. So 30 is our break-even number.
$30 for a fridge.
For a refrigerator, and I also included the tipping fee because they pay 7 1/4 and the weight of the refrigerator. So, and I included the scrap. I did every revenue thing I could think of, and it was like $30.11 was break even. So that was one of the changes that they needed in there.
So they should be like $35 or more.
They are doing it, I asked for year-over-year increase estimates so that we can ask for that and not have big swings every 5 to 7 years. So I guess we have time to do the accomplishments. Did they get them done?
I don't have them.
Victoria's out today. I did get the solid waste one. 2,729 tons for $133,238. The litter crew walked 3.7 shoulder miles. They brought in 34 tires. They picked up 21 illegal dumps, about 20 pounds of scrap metal, and a total of 1.22 pounds last week.
And it was super hot last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they came in an hour early to help combat that.
Also had gravel road grading by blade per mile, total of 450 miles. Gravel road grading rock rake, total of 439 capacity miles. Gravel replacement, 1,250 tons. Seal coating cap, 68.92 passenger miles. Seal coating non-cap, 82.53 passenger miles. Bridge cleaning, 41.5 hours. Guardrail repair and maintenance, 85 hours. And selective spraying, 170 acres.
How often do you guys work with the DOT on joint projects?
So,
Not a lot.
I was gonna say, not too much.
It's pretty infrequent.
They give us updates on projects that they got going
Roundabouts.
on.
Yeah.
I think the
Right.
last big one we did was a roundabout in Quincy.
And right now, I
Or
mean,
roundabout we did at the jail. That was.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
right now, we're working with them on Hanson and Adams, for their detours around our roads. We have those 2 projects. Coordination, I guess, but,
Zach Kennedy, you guys know Zach Kennedy is our legislative lobbyist. So he called me a few weeks ago. And we were in a long ranging conversation, but he kept stepping around this idea of local governments working directly with the DOT, on various projects and how it was difficult. And he thought we could run a bill of some kind on how to make these things easier, I asked him, I said, have you ever met with the DOT? And he said, well, he goes, it's kind of hard. And I said, we just completed a really successful project with the roundabout at the jail. I go, it was a little bit, cumbersome at first. We had to step through a few things, but once we had it figured out, it was really smooth and we worked really well together. I go, there's processes in place. They're just disjointed, and nobody's really put them all together. And he goes, well, I think we can run a bill, and I'm like, seems like a lot of energy. And I said, well, why don't we start by having a conversation with the DOT? you know, and you can understand what we did and you can see. And so he called me again last week to follow up and he wants to set up a meeting.
Why does he attend Quadco? Because that's kind of a coordination. I think
Yeah,
that's where
Regional
I
planning, yeah.
found out, you know, really what's going on, how long the bridge is gonna be out, how long,
Yeah.
what's going on in our area.
I was just curious. I told him, I said, I'm happy to facilitate a meeting between me and you and my regional guy at the DOT that helped us with this,
Mhm.
you know, and you can see how we did it. And you can, you know, because he's speaking to other counties, but I don't have vision into those conversations, so.
Well, and I mean,
I was just curious.
Yeah, we've done WashDOT coordination meetings that they do twice a year. Once, well, they want to go to Grant County, once they'd like us to go to Olympia.
Yeah.
On their like upcoming 3 years. So we did a Zoom or Teams one maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the purpose of running a bill is.
we haven't found them to be disagreeable. I mean, we paid them to, their inspector is the one who did this report. Like I say, we're working well on the Hanson and Adams Road, but it's coordination, but
They remind me of the PUD, a lot of bureaucracy, right?
Yeah.
A lot of silos.
yeah,
It's just difficult to get the right people in the right room.
yeah, it is. And it took a while to even find, one, do you guys do this work? And then two, who does it? Can we get his number? But once we had that, it actually was fairly quick and, so,
We had pretty good coordination, but we also paid for that roundabout. And the other roundabout on, is it 28 and the
Oh,
White
yeah.
Trails?
yep,
That was a washed out project, but with coordination. I thought it worked out well. We had John probably remembers better. I think we were supposed to, they wanted us to block the roads and they forgot to tell us. And there was a couple things
Yeah.
that we didn't know what we were supposed to do because of,
Yeah, and we ended up paying for that, I mean, it was, we're getting $500,000 reimbursed from the state, but they would have given us more. We'd followed the federal Safe Streets deal,
Mhm.
but because of our timeline, we weren't able to do that. We still wouldn't be done. And, so that was the big part of us ended up.
it sure is nice though. When you're up in that area, because it was a little sketchy.
Yeah, that is,
Not that we've added a ton of traffic, but
I think it's a great roundabout.
we are government funds at work.
yeah.
Definitely made it safer. I mean,
Well-
there's no arguing.
Yeah. Well, and Caden James met with the state, it was at Hanson, and, we told them, if you guys, if these roads end up being damaged, it's on you, on the frontage roads, all their detour. Had no problem, they met, drove the roads together. I don't find them disagreeable at all, so.
Well, and in my early conversation with the DOT about the imaginary bridge, talking to them about the idea of saying, hey, let's connect two different state routes so the bridge becomes your deal. And they were behind that. They're like, yeah, we would prefer that.
So
Which really takes a lot of the stress off you.
Yeah,
So,
that makes two of us.
I'd like to go into executive session for a couple minutes. I need to talk to you about an employee.
Okay,
So we're gonna go into executive session for 2 minutes under personnel disciplinary matters, RCW 42.30.1101F for 2 minutes coming out at 9:58.
yeah, like you say.
It is 9:58, we are out of executive session. So if you just look into that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else?
Oh,
I don't have
yes,
anything else.
yes. I'm trying to research this and I cannot find it. Royal Slope Road. Do you know when it's gonna get paved? I have been trying to look in the 6-year transportation TIP and I cannot find it. Royal Slope Road,
Starts at E and ends at Adams.
yeah, that's probably right. But there's a little segment, I'm trying to think Royal Road. Is that F that comes through Royal City? What's the road that comes like from Spuds, Royal City? So it'll be
Road G
G and east.
to E.
Okay.
But you're wanting to know about Royal Slope, not,
Yeah, it's a Royal Slope Road between those two, because I think the other side is paved.
No, it is paved from G to G.5. The
Okay.
PUD paved that when they moved big
Okay.
transformers up on top.
So that it's east of that.
Yeah, so it'd be from E to G. There's
So
2
we've got some
miles.
soft spots that are in the road.
okay.
God knows exactly what I'm talking about.
It's like you worked there for a while.
He knows the players, the characters, the players, the neighborhood.
ABCs of Royal City.
That's all I have.
Yeah, that G to G5, that's HMA, isn't it? Yeah.
It was a
Very
BSC
nice.
until they moved those transformers up and the PUD paved them.
Until they got to the bridge and decided they forgot to calculate the width of the bridge. And so
And then they had to
take the
put a
railing
Bailey
down.
bridge over it to get them over.
And now we have a new bridge there.
It's pretty nice there.
So,
All right,
all right,
thank you guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
10 o'clock and we'll roll into our auditor's office update.
And again, I tried to find that on the, I just couldn't find it.
It very well could not be on there. I'll have to double
Okay.
check to see.
It probably is, I just didn't see it. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome auditor's office.
Good morning. How's it going?
Well, it's going great here. How are you doing? You got a new job here?
It's going.
Okay. You're still here.
I'm still here, yeah. Do you want me to start? Sure. Okay. So, we kind of moved things around a little bit. So our payroll ladies are working on our quarterlies, to kind of open me up to work, with Shannon on the budget and annual report. So they, have got, Ella and I filed already this week or last week. And then they are working on filing the rest of it this or today or tomorrow. And it seems to be working out really well. They were able to get through it a lot faster. And they understood more of like the payroll codes and stuff, and caught some errors, which I think was a really good situation because, yeah, anyways, it went way smoother this quarter than it has. Just made more sense to have payroll running those since they're already. Yeah, and they do have, Jamie's double checking Amber, Amber's double checking Jamie, so we do have that double check in there still. And we got them all set up on, the state stuff so that they can get in there and file it and pay it and all that stuff. Excise tax we got filed last week. Then we've got an update on the annual report, and I'll let Shannon discuss that with you guys.
So I sent Tara just a quick email on Friday, just to kind of see where she was at, and she's got a response, and she's still working on it, and she says she's on a roll. She has the Schedule 01 uploaded and has sent us a list of like follow-up questions and problem accounts that we will have to work and get to her. So Schedule 1 uploaded and balanced was her biggest hurdle, but there's still quite a few steps needing to be done, the debt schedules, grants, etc. So she said, once the Schedule 1 is good to go, we're about 50% done on getting that annual budget 2025 to the state. So we're working with her, giving all the reports that she is needing to get that complete.
I'm planning on working on the list she gave us today. Starting today, I was gonna start working on getting that stuff checked off and done, so hopefully we can get it to her quickly. Is there anything else you wanted to say on that one?
No.
Okay.
Working with her.
So, a Tyler update for you guys. There was a decision made, that we're going to start working with Steve, I don't remember his last name, for the finance side, so that we are able to, receive more in-depth training on the financial side, for the whole office, not just one person.
So who is Steve? Is he with Tyler or?
Yes.
He's
He's
away?
with Tyler. Robert was the gentleman, but it,
Okay.
He's the finance IC.
So, and upon their request, the finance team has been working on, getting a list of areas that we all feel that we need to focus on for our training sessions and stuff, so that, we can hopefully get stuff moving along a lot smoother and stuff. And then that way, if somebody's out of the office, we still have people in there that are able to, print reports or help people figure out, information on a budget item or anything like that. So hopefully, our first session with him is this Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. And then Shannon and I have been working on the budget to try to get it uploaded into Tyler. We have found some discrepancies between the upload file for Tyler and the approved budget. So we have been working on resolving those issues so that we can get those posted, or the budget posted in Tyler as soon as possible. So that's another thing I will be working on, along with the annual report stuff.
Obviously, the annual report will take up
Yes.
priority, but as well, we get to try and get the 2026 numbers situated and make sure that they correct before we put them in there. So there's a few questions we have for Robert on how he wants those corrections done, whether it's going to be prior to uploading them or we can upload them and test and then make whatever necessary corrections. So, yeah.
And that's all we had. You guys have any questions?
That's all you had. I would say it's a pretty impressive list.
Yeah.
It sounds like
That's
there's
just a
not a lot
touch-
going on,
touch
but I
bases
just,
on it.
I have two. So we got the email from Holly saying that Coa Hills was taking her out of the picture, right, which is too bad. And
Because
Yeah.
because we extended the contract and hers ended, so
Yeah,
yes.
and, just so the board knows, I mean, we discussed this with Holly briefly and said if we needed to look at that, extend it, if it was valuable, we would, but we never heard anything from her, or that we would discuss it. And then we never heard anything from her, and then I got the email. My question, though, is, in her email, she talked about leaving, and she said, I'm excited to see that Tom Gaines is gonna take a larger role in the project. But nobody has actually
So
talked to me about that, so I didn't know if I
read-
was or not.
Well, and I read that, so I wasn't sure if that had to deal with
I don't know.
HR.
I'm asking you.
So,
Yeah, I think, Tom, she was referring to when I had nominated you.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
think that's what she's referring to,
Yeah.
but just that you were,
Yeah,
it's important as a county administrator that you,
I didn't, I just read it as like, well,
Just
I don't
some
know if there was
aspect.
anything specific or not, so. that
well,
was-
and I didn't
so,
ask for
Okay.
clarification. I thought, well, maybe he's helping on the
That's
human
okay.
resources side, and I mean, we'd be
well, that
more than
was-
welcome for that to
mystery's-
happen.
mystery's solved, so. But the second one
If you
was,
want to.
so I've heard, and I think I've heard you say it a couple times about department heads at the department head level being able to run their own expense and revenue reports, something you were working on. Do you think that'll come to fruition?
Well, I think when we have our meeting on the 3rd,
Yeah.
getting them together and finding out.
It would be
I
great.
think
would
so,
just- I would
because if
advocate for
each
that.
department is entering their payroll, then they have access to GP and they should be able to get their wages benefits for that month and plug it in. And then whoever's doing payables can run the expense reports and run those numbers. I kind of have an example of, how they should do it. They have their beginning budget and then run those numbers monthly, and they should have been.
I think that'd be great. I'd advocate for that all day long. I was
Yes.
just hoping that was true and that was coming.
That's what I'm working on, but some departments are gonna be kind of unique. I was
Yeah.
talking with another department that doesn't use GP, but they should still, then if they're still doing payroll, be able to run those reports. So I find it important
Yeah.
that each department, they have
Well, I think
their
all-
budget, so if they should be keeping track, in my opinion, and then using those reports as a double check. So if we can figure that out, I, for that meeting, have like instructions on how to run those reports. And
yeah.
instead of waiting until the 15th, they can run
I
them.
think all the department heads would love that.
I think once we get the budget actually uploaded
That
into
too.
Tyler, it'll be a lot easier too
Yeah.
for them to do stuff like that.
Well, then
I think it will reduce phone calls you get by about 90%.
Well, and then people won't be confused. I mean, right now, because the numbers aren't,
Yeah.
it's not like the numbers aren't there, they're just not in there. And so when they see that they put in a
It's
table and it's a negative, they're like, oh my gosh, no, it's not. It's just,
I think
bear
Mandy
with us.
knows,
We're trying to get there, so.
Thanks.
I do have a question. So Holly is moving on to her next project.
Right.
So Shannon, do you feel like it's important to have another project manager through that organization, or do you think?
Either that's probably a discussion we will have with Steve on the 30th to see how they're gonna handle that, on whether he's just gonna be doing kind of both. Like, here we are, here's what we're working on, here's what you need to be working on. So,
Because Steve will do the finance part, and then I think Robert will be doing both parts, right? I mean,
Right.
we'll have our regular meetings with him.
right, because we're still scheduled to have those meetings, so it almost sounds like it's gonna be more of a Robert kind of thing.
Well, if you hear something more,
I mean, it kind of makes sense, because then we're dealing with him directly on,
yeah,
so,
Polly has just been an integral part of making sure all of the pieces land where they need to land.
yes. I don't know, if on the meeting, I did say, though, I find it would, I think, be more beneficial that whoever we're having the meeting on, instead of just saying, these need to be worked on, we need them more in depth. Whoever's gonna be there, when I kind of shared that with Steve's, like, when you log on, we want more in depth. This is what needs to be worked on, but we want more in depth of exactly how that entails, instead of just saying, here you go. So that's what I'll be
Fair
working
enough.
towards,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Okay,
We'll find out on the 30th on our first meeting to
Thank
see how
you.
that goes, so. I do, regards to that, some of, accounting has logged on to Tyler Help.
Yeah.
And so there's a few issues, that they've run into, like the notcha file. And a few people have already reached out, so that's gonna be beneficial. So I'm hoping between getting information from the community and then having the meeting with Steve, that maybe we'll have a little bit more information of how to ask, how to do that. And so hopefully he'll be more present to help us, walk us through, or direct us, who can walk us through those.
Anybody have anything else?
Is there anything that we can do for you?
Not at this moment. But if I think of something, I mean, right now, it's kind of going, I mean, hopefully it's going in the right direction to accomplish everything we're trying to accomplish in a timely manner, but I'm very impressed with the accounting department. They've done leaps and bounds, doing
I was
everything
gonna
that they
say,
have.
all the,
Helping.
we've all kind of stepped up and, took on stuff that we not necessarily was in our job descriptions. And I think we're kind of working stuff out to what makes more sense to, what people need to be working on what.
And that's something that we're gonna be working on getting more definitive structure on exactly what that entails for each person. So I'm sure I'll be working with Decorah on that. They know it's in the works right now, but we gotta kind of take priority and get things done first before we hit that. So
It's been,
as they're doing it, it'll be great for them to take notes and say, well, this is what I'm doing, this is why it makes sense, and then this person, and go forward.
I
And
think
then
we've
the
been
necessary-
doing really good, team.
Yes.
So have you basically taken on the role of CFO?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, because we have Tara working on the annual reporting, and so, I mean, she has stepped up in anything that needs to be done in that regards, getting those reports to Tara and finding where they're at and whatnot. I mean,
One last thing. I have this massive Excel spreadsheet that's a spending analysis that I was gonna send you, and it was like, she's gonna kill me if I send this to her, because it's like 27 tabs and it's really in depth. Do you want to set up some time so I can go over it with
sure,
you?
I mean, because when you look at the budget, it has more than 27 tabs.
I know,
So,
no,
I
I
mean,
know. This is just a spending analysis. though.
yeah,
And also, more follow-up on the Amazon accounts, what you want to do.
yeah,
I mean.
it would be interesting to find out why. I'd like to know kind of why it was
It would-
stopped, but it seemed to be kind of,
Well, I would make the suggestion.
Complicated.
So I used to do that before the account was taken away from
Mhm.
central services. I used to do a spending analysis just on Amazon for the commissioners. That was the whole point, right? We heard from the bank there was credit card frauds. We were trying to mitigate that. I don't have that level of access, so if you wanted to if you wanted to make me an administrator in that account again, I could start to do that and share it with you, and then you guys can take it back over. I'm just offering to help.
right,
so.
and amongst the 100,000 file
things.
folders, I'd have to find that whole Amazon
I just don't know who's the
Accountant.
administrator anymore. for-
I don't know. I know Bree is the one that's been, dealing with phone calls and stuff on
They
that.
would just have to give me my permissions back, so.
I don't know. I mean, we could find out who
Just think
does.
about
and,
it. I mean, I'm not, it's,
Well, and I think,
that would be
I
helpful.
think during the third, August 3rd meeting that
Okay.
touch bases with everybody and go from there.
I do have a question. Shannon and I were thinking about it, and we know the new budget, we need to start working on, getting emails and stuff out. When did you guys usually get those sent out? Like, are they supposed to
We
be?
start September.
So that there's a statute that says when you send those out, I can send that to you.
Yes, please,
Okay.
because I would like to be on top
And
of
we started early a few years ago when Katie was gonna be out in the month of November, so we actually started super early. But we've kind of brought it back to our budget meetings in November
Oh, okay.
instead of having them in October. So
Okay.
And one of your best resources, if you just go to MRSC
Okay.
and just type in budget guidelines for counties.
Okay.
Caitlin probably already has it pulled up.
You probably find everything that I'm gonna send you.
Okay,
Okay.
Caitlin, when is it?
Yes, we have a resolution in place that lists out the dates for everything. But yes, I can forward that to you.
That would
and-
be very helpful.
Can you send me a copy too? Probably Kevin and Rob, just so we know.
And would you say that website, the
MRSC.
And I can send you those links or I can pop up and show you or whatever. And the other thing I'd leave you with is, budget seems like this massive animal, which it is. I don't think that you're all on your own.
No.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of people here who have been through lots of budgets and we all want to help.
Yep.
So,
Well, that's why I figured I'd
Honestly,
pick you guys' brains.
I feel like it's more important to get the actual numbers where we're at right now than to start on the budget.
Right.
Because
right,
Just
right.
for the future as they start to
Yeah.
ramp that up, right?
Yeah.
So,
I just
Well-
wanted to know, because I know there's deadlines and stuff in there that I want to make sure that we hit without
We're
getting
trying
too
to
bad.
get everything
No, I-
in priority, but
we
I mean,
appreciate
right now, the
everything that your team has
2025
been doing.
Yeah.
annual is obviously our top priority. and
Yes,
then we're
yes.
working our way down from that,
I
so.
just knew it was coming up and I don't want to miss it. So, that's why I asked. All right.
That's 10:17, so we'll move into Carrie's update.
Oh, sorry, we took 2 minutes of your, we'll leave 2 minutes early
Mine's
next
not
time.
extensive as you guys, so take all the time you need.
Thank you, guys.
Peter is willing to share. Thank you.
We're here for our treasurer's update. It's 10:17.
Hello,
Good
how's it
morning.
going? What's that look? Hi, guys.
Hello.
So I have something to report. I have new ears.
You do?
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I know, thank you.
I can't see him.
Yeah, that's the point.
How do they?
I
Question
can
is,
hear
how do
every
they work?
word.
Question is, how do they work?
What?
You can ask me that question again?
That was awesome.
No,
She has select
it is,
hearing.
it's awesome.
She has select hearing. She's only gonna hear what she wants.
Yeah.
And she's like, my hearing's bad.
Yeah, if you see me do this, that I'm turning you down. Just kidding.
I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't come in here to complain, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know where we're at. We currently have 2 positions open in our office. One that is a deputy treasurer position, it's front counter. And we also have the investment and accounting officer position, which was my prior job, open right now. Very thin. So right now I'm currently the interim treasurer plus the chief deputy plus the investment accounting officer. And it's,
We approve those positions. Are you advertising?
yeah, no, it's
Okay.
open.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Yes,
you just
Yes.
can't get a person there fast enough.
right.
Okay.
Yesterday. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to let you guys know the structure of what's going on upstairs. The water's here. We're not quite under, but hopefully we'll get some bodies in the seats soon. And
Oh, great. We may have to contract with Mr. Darrell Pheasant to come in here and.
oh, he's offered.
How long have the positions been advertised?
Well, the one at the counter, we had, I don't know how much I can say in here, but we had we did some interviews. One of them fell through due to references. The other one took another position, hopefully here in
Have
the
you had a lot of
courthouse.
candidates or is really?
The first time, yes. The second time, no. So I'm hoping with the weekend and, you know, all of that kind of stuff.
Is it on Indeed and all the other places?
Oh, no, you may have to hire Daryl. Wouldn't that be funny? Daryl, you're working for me today. Daryl, I'm bringing you in.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
I'm bringing you a contract.
Yes.
Don't
At
think
the
of
front counter.
Get there. Oh, gosh.
Oh, they wouldn't like that. You might want to talk to them. But, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Stemming off of that, the monthly reports, it's kind of been a one-man show. My chief deputy is currently still doing her job until that's filled. So there's just not a lot of help. So just wanted to put that out there.
Well, Carrie, if you need to get temporary help, I think you probably could.
Be awesome.
Whatever, I think it worked with HR. Even if
Yeah.
You had to, I guess, pull Daryl in for a little bit to, he's, you know, a lot of times when they leave, they're not willing to, but that might be a
No,
source.
he is. I'm just kind of not sure. It's specialized things.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Hard to get a temp and get them up to speed.
Yeah. So would it be worth it? You know, I don't mind working 12 and 13-hour days, but it's getting kind of old. So
Well,
anyways, I
you
just
need
wanted
to-
to put that out there that, you know,
Probably grab some help. Oh,
Yeah,
that,
I mean-
Kevin, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to like be speaking
you
for.
can't run with 2 employees down. I mean, if you could get
Yeah.
one person in there to help you out at least, that would be helpful.
we're
You
on
still
month
need to
2.
maintain a family life, so 12 or 14-hour days, so probably not.
Well,
realistic.
it's okay. We're
It's hard to
still
catch up when
breathing.
you get
We still have a
behind.
heartbeat. But no, and nothing's falling through the cracks yet. I will say that. Usually we like to get reports out by the 10th. That's like our goal. June was the 13th. No, the 15th. Last month was the 13th. So, you know, we're not hindering anyone yet, but I'm hoping to get some bodies in the seats so we can get back to the 10th.
You got 2 big positions, so.
So yeah, speaking of financial reports, we are fully implemented with Clemmer GL now. That happened, well, Connie retired 5/31, so it was kind of a forced issue, which was a blessing because we needed to move in that direction. So the first set of reports out of Clemmer came from in June, and then the second set has come in July. So I'm hoping this third month will be better. Everybody seems to like them. It's a little learning curve. They don't know what they're looking at yet, but we have some guidance in place, you know, to kind of show them where they're at. And with that said, I would really love to move the STAR reports and the cash sheets away from the auditor's office. Because really those are generated in our office. And I would like to work with IT on moving those to our webpage. Makes sense? I mean,
I don't think you're gonna get any pushback from.
Yeah.
Probably
They'd be
And,
happy with
it just
and-
makes sense. And then people know that to ask us questions and
Yeah,
not,
if you don't mind
not
having a
them.
conversation with the auditor, I think that's more, but.
Yeah. I mean, they were, up to this point, they were doing us a favor because you should see our
That's kind of
webpage,
what
it's
they
blank.
said before, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't have a problem, but again, it's not my department, so.
Right, yeah.
I would ask them, but I think it's a great idea.
I-
I'm sure Shannon would be more than happy to unload.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure they would
I
too.
can give TS a heads up that a spice request will come in.
Is that just, I mean, maybe you don't know, but is that just a
It's pretty
move it
simple.
over kind of
Yeah,
thing?
it's pretty
Okay,
simple. Just a spice works request.
cool.
And then they'll probably ask, how's it gonna get populated in the future? So.
Yeah.
But no, obviously you're not doing STAR reports anymore, right? Because they're all coming
Right.
out of Clemmer. So it'll be whatever reporting that you use out of Clemmer that goes up there for people to go and access on the
Yeah.
internet.
It'll relatively work the same, so.
But if you're sending that, yeah, if you don't mind reaching out to the auditor's office ASAP, then since.
I'm sure they're like,
it comes
yay,
in the works of it,
check.
So, yeah,
Just get them.
just so we don't, they don't find out later.
With it and then we'll-
I know they get a lot of questions and, you know, most people don't know that source is with our office, so let's give them a little break with the questions. Foreclosure and distraint, Vicky went out last week and she posted all of the distraint properties. Those are manufactured homes. There's 26 currently in the county that she's working on getting redeemed, so those don't have to be sold. There's, this number was on June 30th, I believe she told me, 105 foreclosure properties. So she's working to dwindle that list before our foreclosure sale in November, but she's gonna be posting those, I believe, soon. She told me, so not high numbers, that's good. Yeah, easy to work with.
These are all 3 years and older.
Yeah.
that haven't paid.
Yep. So it would be,
And this is a November sale, the 105
Correct.
foreclosures, right?
I don't know the exact date. I should know that, but I don't.
I don't know, you might have to call our auctioneer, I think it's online.
Right.
Isn't it online now? It's Daryl.
Yeah,
He lives for things like that.
yeah,
Probably
we did
contact
have
them.
like a live auction, like last year. It was one parcel. So we stood out in our lobby and had a grand old
I
time.
want him to do it on the front steps of the courthouse.
He's done it.
So
That's the
usually
best
the
place.
sheriff's.
He enjoys it, yeah. And then this is kind of new. We're calling it the Great Purge of 2026.
The Great Purge.
The Great Purge. Oh my gosh, so many things have left upstairs. It's old stuff. Like Daryl had some stuff from the 80s and we're dubbing it the Great Purge. But with that comes our affidavit. We have an affidavit room in the back and there's been some weird stuff with the state archive and what should we keep? What should we not keep? So we have stuff from the 50s back there. And we've always been afraid to get rid of them because we do get public records requests that require that. And so Emily in public records, she was awesome and did some homework for us. And so word on the street is that we can get rid of them, like 6 years, keep 6 years and get rid of the rest. I'm a little apprehensive to do that. So I'm gonna reach out to some other counties to see.
She has an attorney, we have an attorney, a public records attorney, so maybe
Oh,
get validation from the public records attorney.
oh, I love that.
Bounce it off the
Okay.
retention schedule.
Mhm.
'Cause there's a retention schedule
Emily
for just
and
about
Mike
everything.
should know.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of why I got Emily involved.
I just want to make sure, because we had one prior to Kevin McCrae, so I think Kevin
Oh.
McCrae did answer some of them, but
Okay.
we did, so.
Yeah, Emily reached out to
Who is
like,
it?
I think it's Barbara Durbeck.
Oh, is she our public, yeah, we
Oh.
actually had a firm.
okay,
Let me- I can confirm with Emily, but
Okay.
okay. Emily reached out to the state archive and there was, between last year and this year, the rules have changed, I guess. And they're not deemed emergency anymore. So she said, shred them. But I'm, like I said, I'm
I would reach out
apprehensive.
to our civil attorney just to make sure.
it is Barbara Durbeck.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, yeah, that's really all that's going on.
Did you know that Grant County was one of the first counties to have a public records officer
No,
in like 2006?
well, it's definitely warranted.
And now
That's
I
for
think
sure.
every county has at
Oh
least
my
one.
gosh. Daryl said, did you get any public records requests yet? And I'm like, yeah, 3.
Daryl, and you didn't come in, I'm gonna put you in charge.
Nah, they're not too bad,
I
but
did see him
it's,
wandering around here, so he's alive and well.
yes, he's very bored. Needs some things to do. He's wondering about
He was
numbers.
pushing for this.
He just doesn't want to be in charge. He doesn't want to be
No.
yelled at. You want somebody else to get yelled at. But yeah, I would think if you are getting behind, look for part-time help or.
I honestly don't know what they would do. Yeah.
Well,
I don't.
you're in the office,
Make sure he
help me,
understands where the parking is.
What does that mean?
He would know.
He has a handicap placard.
He didn't for a long time.
No, that's very
but-
true.
Daryl,
So anyways, okay, well, thank you guys.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
All right. Looks like that Superior Court must be outside.
have a call.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start.
We're gonna go to recess for a couple minutes, coming back out.
This is me running in.
It is 10:31 and we are here for our Superior Court update.
Good morning.
morning.
Business as usual, which is not surprising, I'm sure to hear. We're doing lots of court, which we always do. Our biggest concern that we do have right now is with the jail relocating soon, we really don't feel like we have a plan of how we're gonna pass back paperwork and have defendants possibly via Zoom or in person. We did have the jail reach out, what was it, last week, and we're hoping to get another meeting together so we can start talking about this, because we still haven't been given a for sure word of when they're going to be relocating the defendants up there, and we have to start doing court. So that is a big concern that we do have right now, and how we are going to have court with them across town. So hopefully we'll get that resolved sooner than later.
So as far as paperwork, if they have court over there with a Zoom,
Mm-hmm,
you have to have the original document
mm-hmm,
over to your office.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we have no idea how that's all gonna work. We did have TS saying they have all these ideas and we're gonna kind of run something by the jail staff and then come and show us, and this was last fall, and we haven't heard anything. So I'm not sure where all that's at.
I've heard there's a lack of response there.
Yes.
Services will be at the Law and Justice Council meeting next
Okay.
week to try to talk to everybody.
Mhm.
Since all the main parties will be in the room.
Okay,
To
good,
see if they can get some agreement, some direction on
good.
movement. for
Okay,
that.
good. I'm glad to hear that. I think there's a lot of people not sure how it's going to work, and the judge's biggest concern is right now paperwork is just handed up to them and they sign orders and then it gets passed over to the clerk and they're done with it. Now it's all gonna have to be on a screen and somehow get passed back and forth to attorneys, and then to the defendant in the jail, and then how does it get back to the judge to then give it to the clerk? There's just so many
Is it,
unknowns, and it might be a lot more work for the judge. We don't know yet.
is it allowed to do that electronically, like sign
For
electronically?
some documents, yes. For a judgment and sentence, the clerk is supposed to be present to watch them affix their fingerprints and signature. So we're not sure how all that's gonna work. We might have to have the defendants present in the courtroom when they're being sentenced.
Right, so they would
So.
just transfer them from over there over to the
Mhm.
courtroom and do it that way.
The good news is there's only on average about 10 defendants that are in custody on a given docket day. So if they have to be here, I think it's doable. But I mean, I'm saying that. I don't know about the jail and their staff and resources, but we don't have that
Well,
many in
they
custody.
knew that was part of the plan.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they have a plan
Mhm.
because.
Yes,
they
we
have
just don't
to-
know what their plan is. And we've been asking, what's your plan? We're here to work with you guys, and I'm not sure if they know. So we'll see.
Have two,
Absolutely, Claire.
sorry, and I didn't
Hi.
interrupt you, but they do have two corrections deputies who do transports. And so my assumption is that that is their plan.
Okay. I just wasn't sure, are they gonna have a holding cell here still, and how they're gonna have to have someone downstairs, I would think, to be with them, and then still two up in the courtroom. I don't know how all that's gonna work. Mhm.
I don't know that anybody truly knows how all this
Mhm.
works. So, yeah.
Yes,
So
and
having,
some of it might be just trial and error and start doing it and see how it goes, but it's definitely a concern that
That's what I'm
we all
thinking.
have.
It's gonna be a trial and error thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So we're hoping to have a plan soon. But that's good to know that everyone's meeting next week and can hopefully talk
So
about
hopefully
it.
you're invited to that, or your
Yes.
team.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's at 1:00?
Yes.
Okay,
Maybe they can do some practice runs.
that would be nice. Mm-hmm. Do you know yet when they're gonna be moving into the new jail? Because I keep
thought
hearing
they were
different
moving
dates.
This month, and then somebody's like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna happen in August, because before it was like, we're gonna move the inmates in August, and so we said, I don't know if we're gonna be
what
quite
I've
ready for
heard
that.
about that I think I can share now is that they're not announcing the date
Okay,
for security purposes,
Oh.
obviously.
that makes
But
sense.
I
Okay.
heard it's coming, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't even have at this point, the judges don't have e-signatures. So, yes,
Why not?
we just have never had the need for it. So we're gonna have to have that once the jail is relocated. I would assume the judge is gonna be e-signing a lot of documents. So we have a lot of work to do. We just don't know where to start because we don't know
Well,
the plan.
TS will set that all up, I would
Mhm.
assume.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that's something simple, but there's just a lot of
I don't know,
unknowns
and
right now.
This has been on the front burner for quite some time, wondering how it's gonna work, and the clerk's office has been concerned.
Yes.
Superior Court.
Mhm. I'm sure it will all come together, but there hasn't been much planning. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I think there's just some other thing, it's just kind of been like, we're not worried about this yet. So
Yes.
Now that it's getting closer, hopefully we start really worrying about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think we need to have a plan in place of how this is all gonna work before they relocate.
And the sheriff has actually hired a transition company, like a team that
Oh.
helps with this transition.
Mhm.
So the build of the jail, and I'm sure it's kind of the next part of it. So Philip should be aware of.
Good.
That's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come about,
Yes.
because we did pay for that,
Okay, good.
kind of a build, I don't know what you call it, build transition team, I don't know.
Okay. Well, good. There's probably just some things that have been discussed that we're just
I
not
just
aware
think,
of,
yeah, lack of
hopefully.
communication.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Everybody's just doing their own thing.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure they're busy right now focused on just getting the people they have moved up there. And so I'm sure this is on the back burner for them. Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when was this jail built? 80s?
Yeah.
Finished in the 80s?
Mhm.
So, I mean, they haven't done this in 26 years.
Long time.
Or, no, more than that, 46 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It will all work out.
yeah.
It's just gonna take some time and lots of planning.
Patience, planning.
Patience, yes, absolutely.
If everybody does their part,
Mhm.
it'll all come together.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fine.
Yes, yes, it will.
That's Caitlin's word. It'll be fine.
It'll work out.
It always is.
Well, we're gonna have to figure it out, yeah.
Oh, well,
We're gonna figure it out
yes.
sooner than later, but
Mhm.
sometimes that, while we're waiting, it's a little uncomfortable, so.
Absolutely, yeah. So, otherwise, that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
No? All right.
I think our only question is, how is it gonna work out? We have the same question you did.
Probably.
Yes. Anxiously waiting to know.
All right. Well, I guess if you don't have anything else, we'll go on
That's it.
recess until 10:45.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Decorah, I didn't see you back
Oh,
there.
no,
Debris.
Okay, it is 10:45 and we're here for our commissioner work session.
The Quincy Solar groundbreaking. Kevin, you had said that you,
Yeah, I'll probably go.
Cindy, do you plan on attending that
I
also?
think that's in, is that,
That's the same day
is
as
it fair
the
opening?
fair opens.
It's from 4 to 5:30 that day.
Yeah, I was told they wanted to take us to the demo afterwards. That's what I heard.
For the ribbon cutting?
One of the gals that works here, I ran into her, and so she asked me the other day if I was going. And she said they wanted to take us to the demolition derby or something afterwards. I'm like, well, I'm already gonna be at the fairgrounds. But I was gonna go.
Yeah, you probably should go, so this is my district. Well, I was gonna go to, I think they had a meet and greet thing, community development last week. The last week of the week before I was planning on going, didn't make it.
Well, I was trying to figure out why they called it Quincy Solar Energy Center, since it's north of Moses Lake. I'd be a little confused.
Oh, and Tuesday's always crazy at the fair.
Yeah, it's free day.
Well, We'll have to take an Uber drive, an Uber, so that we don't lose our parking spot on the fair if we're parked there early in the morning.
Well, you should have your parking spot.
Sure.
Then you
Yeah.
probably.
I did loan mine to the vet, because the vet doesn't have one. Dr. Chamberlain a couple years ago. He has to get in and out, but I did talk to Jim. Jim said to go in, have him go in the office and get one, but he has a hard time. Some years he has a hard time getting in with his vet truck.
Well, the last couple of years, we've had the gal from Grand Coulee, I think, in there.
Go to the vet.
Yeah.
They have, I think they have a couple, some for horses, yeah, I don't know.
Hard time finding a large animal vet.
We actually had to call a vet in 1 year. The little calf got pneumonia. Sharing the water.
No, horse Caitlin. That meeting for the ordinances, is that August 4th? Is that when that's happening?
Yes.
Or is that, okay.
Wait, are you talking the long-term park cars and campers?
Well, that's one of them. Are we going over all of our ordinances or is it just a few?
I feel like maybe you and I are talking about two different things. That you have a work session at 8:30 on Tuesday the 4th, and that is with the prosecutor, development services, code enforcement, specifically to talk about long-term park cars and campers. I don't have any work sessions to talk about the Grant County Code. Are you talking about the update project?
Well, there's another complaint that I've had about animals that's part of code enforcement, so if we have time, I'll bring it up. Always so. I have more, but they're mostly with Public Works, so I'll just meet with them later this week.
Okay, so on the week of fair, normally are we having to
I
look at
don't
my
think we
calendar?
have any meetings scheduled for that week.
Okay. Well, we'll have to have consent agenda. Or work session, we have to have our work session. Of the 18th, 17th.
Will we do that on Monday or will we do that on Tuesday?
On Tuesday, we usually do.
We could move it if you guys really want to. It is, I haven't canceled any of the meetings for that week yet, just because I haven't gotten to it. But, you have a canvassing board certification for the August primary, that morning. They said they expect it'll take like 10 to 15 minutes.
Is that Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesday the 18th. Yep. And then I will confirm with Jim for the opening ceremonies. I've got it on your guys' calendar from 10 to 11. And the commissioners meeting normally from 11 to 11:30. So you probably do want to move it. You want to just.
I don't know when they have opening ceremonies, so early in the morning.
I have a wedding that day. Crazy day. to have
On a
wedding.
Tuesday?
Yeah,
It's a great day to have a wedding.
yeah, it was.
I will be here. We can just have it here. We can keep it. No, the 18th. My phone, for some reason, my calendar isn't populating. Yeah, you have canvassing. Oh, it just
I just,
removed.
yep, it was on there twice.
Okay.
I can follow up with,
Don't we have a policy that states we have to have it at this time?
unless otherwise posted.
Okay.
So as long as we give plenty of notice, which we've got time, then we can reschedule it to Monday, or are you guys wanting to cancel all your meetings on Monday, or do you want to still have them, Monday the 17th?
We can have them.
It doesn't matter to me. If we need to have them.
Well, I think most, I'm looking at some of them, some of them will want to probably cancel.
And that's, Rob's typically out that week as well, so. Two of us can be here, then we can still do it, but I don't wanna have them and people not show up or cancel.
That's usually how it is a week of hair. Everybody seems to cancel at the last minute. We're here and they're like, oh, we canceled. We figured you were gonna be gone. We canceled.
Right.
Well, I can reach out to the
Yeah, we can
offices
just put
and
everything on
departments.
Monday.
Yep. I can reach out to them this week, get some confirmation, and then we can move the commissioners' meeting to that Monday, if you guys want to do that.
I don't think Rob is gonna really care about it. I'm sure he's gonna be out all week.
I'm just trying to figure out what time that wedding is. I have to be at. I think it's.
Yeah, you might want to figure that one out, Kevin. So is Rob out next week too, or just next Monday?
Just next Monday, he had said he'd be remote on Monday, and then he'll be here in person Tuesday.
Okay, and he's remote today? No.
He had said he'd be remote today, but he is not online, so.
Okay, and he's out tomorrow.
Yes, I believe he was expecting to be remote today and tomorrow.
Okay. And then next week.
That's it. Going to recess until 11 o'clock.
It kicks on the air.
It just kicks on when it wants and freezes us out for a little while. Good morning, it's 11 o'clock and we're here for our position management review. Morning, everyone.
We have two positions, both with Renew, so I will let Del speak to his requests. Tina's gonna share your.
Awesome. You can go to slide 3. Or we can start. All right, so these two positions are coming from a contract that Catholic Charities had with Carolina Behavioral Health. If we go back in time several years, there's a jail service fund that the 4 counties receive, but it's not enough for a full-time employee. And so years ago, the counties decided we'll just send all of the region's funds to Catholic Charities and they can support these jail services that way. In June, Catholic Charities decided this was not a program that they wanted to staff anymore. They're having trouble keeping staff and they weren't able to provide support to our jail. And that amounted to 2 days a week at the jails what our jail service was becoming. And just some statistics for you as well. And you guys have already experienced this in the jail. They're dealing with a lot of issues related to substance use and also mental health related issues. According to the Substance Abuse Mental Health Service Administration, 40% of those in jail nationwide have a mental illness and 63% of them have a substance use disorder.
So the jails unintendedly have become a detox facility, a stabilization facility, and they're not staffed to operate in that way. And so Caroline reached out to us with, in June, about $140,000 that they had available to us to add to our jail services contract. This, I did not know about the Catholic Charity side of this. I just thought this is extra funds that we could have. I said, yes, we would be very interested in expanding support to the jail. And then 2 days later, I get an email from Kim Hatfield from Catholic Charities that said, hey, just FYI, I heard that you're taking over our contract. And I thought it was like a negative thing, but it wasn't. It was, I just want to give you a heads up so we can talk about transition plan and what's occurring and that kind of thing. So it wasn't a bad thing, but I was like, oh, I didn't mean to take someone's contract. It's not the way that went down. So this really is in essence trying to provide additional support to the jail. You can move to the next slide, please. And this $140,000 supports 2 positions. These 2 positions, one is a 0.75 FTE, which would be a crisis intervention specialist, and the other one would be a 0.5 peer specialist, so that they could provide support there in the jail. The funding comes directly from Carillon Behavioral Health, and so that it's fully funded from that aspect, cost neutral to the county. And Cindy had mentioned to me that there's been some like community concern or complaint that we don't offer part-time positions. So I did want to first go out on these, the part-time opportunity at the 0.75 and the 0.50 to see what the market is right now for any kind of part-time work. So I thought our request would be to run this for 2 weeks at this level. If we don't get anybody, I think we'll revamp what we're looking at and see if we could dedicate time of full-time employee, and then part of their time would be at the jail, and part of their time would be doing other things. I just don't know what that market is yet for part-time work across the county for this kind of work. And so we thought we'd go out at that aspect first, see what that's like, and then if not, we'll come back with using 2 full-time individuals and splitting their time. Does that make sense?
It does,
Okay.
it does. Does the grant or the funding source require the crisis intervention specialist and the peer, or is that just how you've decided it would be best
That's how
utilized?
we are supporting it. It gave us the most time in the jail between those 2 positions. If we did just a full-time crisis person, it was just 1 full-time person. If you did a peer, so we're trying to split it and spend the whole 140 to give the jail the most service that we could.
And then a little context of, I did reach out to Dell in the Quincy Forum. It was publicized. I think it went out there. That one of the individuals got up and he had 2 daughters that worked at Renew, maybe 3, kind of worked in that area. And because they were, wanted to have kids, and he said a part-time was not offered or telehealth was not offered. And here we're losing great, the Grant County is basically chasing off great employees. So I reached out to Dell and he's like, well, typically, we don't do part-time. So it just kind of opened it up for, maybe we need to, because it was definitely a hot topic
Yeah,
at that point. So
I'm willing to
I thought
try.
I'll bring it back
I'm
to
willing try
Dell.
it out, see
Sure,
if there's a
share
market
the
for
fun.
that.
And if that part-time positions, you don't get bites on part-time, then you would go full-time with those 2 positions and then,
Then we just split the time, so they would do 50% at the jail and then 50% supporting one of our other programs. Or with the other one be 0.25%.
I just wonder what I keep hearing about, the percentages of people that have mental health that are in jail, would it behoove the department and the county as a whole and the jail to have 2 full-time in there anyways?
I think that would work if the aspect is what pays for that.
Sure, yeah.
So we can't use our regular mental health contracted
Funding for
funds.
that,
So that this is coming specifically dedicated for that purpose. So we'd have to look at another, if we want just the jail support, we'd have to look at another way to fund it. That's it.
You have the other position with the deputies.
Mhm.
And is that, because that's
That
full-time
one's
with the
fully
deputies?
funded.
Yeah.
And that's like an outreach one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a co-responder that we have.
Okay, co-responder, yeah.
I just like the idea of having somebody in the jail,
I
you know,
agree.
all the time.
Totally agree with you.
That'd be
And I think
wonderful.
this at
Yeah.
least gets us from what was provided at 2 days a week
Hit and miss.
to this would be a regular schedule of at least 4 hours a day of some support in the jail.
Great. I don't have any questions.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
sorry.
you. No, that's good.
So I have some questions.
Yes.
So on the, like the 75 FTE benefits would be a part of that? Is that
Yes,
included
that's
in the,
that's included
funding?
in the budget that we send to Carolyn.
okay,
Benefits are a part of that.
okay,
And so what happened with the 140 is because you have the benefits tie-in, that's what makes it so we can't just do one FTE on that because the benefits are like, what, 35% of, on
Yeah.
top, so.
and then the 50 FTE, would that also include benefits?
To what
or
level that are available for that position.
For that
Yeah.
position,
We built those into the budget that we submit to them, so.
for both
Yep.
positions?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, that person would be available at least 4 days a week for the jail, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's our goal with trying to support it on a regular basis and not just hit and miss.
Accounting, any questions? Okay. Board, any questions?
Well, thank you, Dale, for being creative on this funding and
Yeah.
trying to get the whole amount.
Right.
Utilize everything we possibly can.
Bring them back during my meeting tomorrow for your decision.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, we have one more.
Okay. Nope, that one, is that a
See you in a few minutes.
backfill?
Be back at 11:30.
That one, we're not doing MPMR backfills anymore. We're just gonna do new positions, new FTEs.
Good.
Yeah, we can save your time.
see
because we
that?
haven't-
I did not.
Okay, it's highlighted in yellow.
I can't read. I can't
Well,
read.
we're trying to simplify
okay.
HR and then really until we get the budget numbers, we've just been approving every single one until we
That's
kind of
okay,
figure out where
Amber.
we're at.
I texted Decora and said, are we doing PMR today? And she's like, yes, we have 2 new positions. I said, I guess I should have read the materials. And then I would have known that. So I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. But yeah,
No,
there's a
that's
note
really
at the
awesome.
very bottom.
Okay,
Maybe we should start with that next time.
yeah. Look for the yellow highlight,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You don't have anything else?
Okay.
Great, that was
we're done,
it.
Kevin.
We'll go on
Thank you.
recess until
So you and I need to
11:30.
get together and go over.
Well, yeah, but 6 months ago, 5
Okay.
months ago, so,
All right.
yeah.
And what was your name?
Matt,
Matt.
yeah, just.
Sorry, Matt.
It's 11:30 and we're here for our Renew mid-year update.
Thank you, guys. So if you haven't met Matt, this is Matt Truman. He is the Director of Finance at Renew. And we thought this would be a good opportunity for us to, one, introduce him, also see kind of what his skill set is from the financial standpoint. But also we wanted to provide him just a mid-year update on what's occurring at Renew, how we're doing financially, how we're tracking that, what our service is looking like. Just as a good opportunity to connect with you as a board and Tom, and to provide that report. And so I've had Matt put together some slides for us to review, and I've got Caitlin, I think you have them ready to post. So I'll have Matt run us through these slides and discuss what's happening to the organization from a financial perspective.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, obviously transparency is really important to us over at Renew, and it's important because you'll see where our money comes from and so on, that it behooves us to be transparent and lean and efficient. Our mission is to support county residents and to provide as much services as we can to the county residents and be good stewards of the money that's given to us, because the majority of the money that's given to us is federal and state dollars. And so we need to make sure we do a good job with those. And I think you'll see that we are doing a good job with those funds. So if you want to go to the next slide. Something to point out with Renew is often you'll get requests from Dell and Renew that are out of the ordinary. There's a reason why I put apples and oranges up there, because Renew is I think there's only 2 other county organizations that still have mental health as part of their county organization. We are apples and oranges in some ways. Some of the stuff we ask of the county is going to be very different than other county operations just by the nature of our business. In there, we track closer to a special purpose district, purpose government than we do a traditional county department. And I'll kind of point out some of the reasons why we are that way. But we are unique compared to everybody else because of our funding sources, because of the requirements that are levied upon us, and so on. Part of those ones I put out there, for example, private pay revenue. We do have the ability to create private pay revenue dollars based on the population that we see. Regulatory environment, of course, we have Medicaid rules, licensing standards, HIPAA, all those things that are quite different than other ones. Cost neutral contracts. So that's a really big one for us because all the contracts that we bring into Renew, we're expected to be cost neutral on, which means we live within our means. We have to live within our budgets. And that's expected from the people who give us the contracts, and that's expected internally too. And I think you'll see when we go further into our financials that we've done a good job over the years of living within our means and living within our contracts. And so also being cost neutral means that we don't cost the citizens of Grant County any dollars. By doing that and staying within our means and staying within our contracts, it allows us to serve the citizens of Grant County without having to take any local dollars from the citizens of Grant County. In fact, I think you'll see that we're more of a giver than a taker when it comes to that, which is a really good relationship to have with the county. And then, like I said, revenue expectations. For us, we need to maximize our billing. We need to maximize our reimbursement on our contracts. The meeting you had beforehand where we were offered a contract with the FTE's amount, maximized every dollar that was given to us from that contract. We get to maximize the dollars from that, but that means we get to maximize the service to the people of Grant County. And so as a department, we are unique, like I said, apples and oranges. We've, over the last few years, we're proud to say that we've received lots of awards. Just this last week, we had one of our employees nominated for the Wise Family Partnership Championship Award from one of our MCOs. One of our most recent internal surveys shows that 8 out of 10 employees at Renew say it's a great place to work, which is 3 years, and it's increased 3 years in a row, but now it's up to 8 out of 10. And so all these things just kind of give you an idea that Renew it's a good place to work and kind of what we do. And that we are different because in some ways we are expected to make a profit in some of our areas. So
just a minute, Matt, I just want to, because I'm just looking at this. So like King County, Thurston, and Mason counties, they have some BHOs/ASOs. So they're only 3 county operated.
There's only a handful of counties that operate a behavioral health program.
Okay, I was just
They still have your contract with your administrative service organizations and your managed care organizations, but the behavioral health work for your outpatient mental health, substance use treatment, that's contracted out now to organizations that provide that instead of counties providing it.
Okay, so Grant is one what are the other 2 counties?
I think Spokane's one, that Spokane County still has a program.
Okay.
And I think you'd mentioned King. There's only a handful.
Okay, I just wanted to, because I was actually just looking, I wasn't ignoring that, I was listening.
So
It was just kind of like
counties are still responsible for the funds
the pass-through that goes through,
that
but
pass
to
through,
operate.
but for the operations of the counties are not doing that business anymore.
Okay, I have no idea why.
So, well, I think, with that, I think even though we're one of the unique ones that are still doing it, I think if we partnership the right way, then there's a real bonus to it.
Mm-hmm.
If we're partnering the right way, we're both paddling the same direction and we both have the same mission. It can work, and it has worked, and it can continue to work even in greater amounts if we go forward and kind of keep doing what we're doing and allow Renew to grow in the way that it needs to grow.
They just discovered.
The Millers want to join Renew.
All right. If you want to go to the next slide. So the next slide just kind of emphasizes what I've been talking about. This is the amount of general or local tax dollars used by Renew. It's 0%, and the main thing in there is too, we talked about Renew is currently executing more than 45 programs or services through federal, state agencies and 5 managed care organizations. And so we do manage about 40 some contracts right now currently. Each one of those contracts has to be reviewed, has to be billed, has to be cost neutral, and has to be reported back to the different organizations. And to date, we have little or no audit findings on any of those contracts. And so we've done a good job with that.
But you do get property tax, correct? Or is that used?
So we
for-
get property tax that is transferred to Directions of Community Living. So
Okay,
it goes to the
I thought-
DCO
okay,
program.
Yeah.
So
DCO,
we don't
okay.
use any for mental health or substance use
Good,
treatment.
good to know.
And that's about 300,000
Yes.
in that program out of 3 million that we already
Okay.
do. And so that's in
Yeah, I
there.
didn't realize that went to DCL.
Yeah. And so if you go to the next slide, this just kind of talks about the impact we have on the local economy and the county itself. Just as a simple math thing, we employ 180 employees. And if you go to the Washington Department of Revenue website, the average that a person will put towards a county if they live in it, you times that by 180, it means our employees are estimating contributing about $963,000 to the local economy through just sales, business, living here, supporting businesses, stuff like that. And so we do have a real impact on the county just being here and doing what we're doing. We also add over $750,000 to the county operations from our federal and state grants and our private dollars. So for example, through the grants we get, we contribute $395, $147, $220 to the different county departments for our share. And then the last one is just up there. We contributed $225,000 to local county vendors, and this year we're up to $150,000. What that means is we get grants and contracts, and with those contracts, it tells us to go out and put on things for local events. It tells us to do these certain things, and whenever possible, we try to use local vendors. Can we get materials from you? Can we get supplies from you? Can we use you for some of our construction stuff? And so we're always trying to look for ways that we can use those dollars to reinvest back into the community as much as possible. And so that's important to us too. Let me go to the next one. And then, of course, our mission statement: to care for the whole person, embrace change, grow hope, and innovate always. Innovation is something that's something that we'll be doing a lot of in the next few years as we try to keep up as best we can with the changing landscape. But as far as our reviews for the mid-year, you can kind of see where we were last year. That is actually the number. It seems really, really close. How can it be? But it is. Last year, January through June, we had 31,000, and January through June this year, we had 31,000. So average per month is 5,300, and average per day is 230. That may seem like a lot, but we feel we can do even more than that, and we probably will coming up in the next few years. And so that just kind of gives you an idea of where we're at. We want to serve more people. To be able to serve more people, though, it means retaining employees, recruiting employees, being efficient and lean with the processes that we have and with the money we have. And of course, like I said, we want to see more people, and we want to stretch every dollar that's been given to us to do that, because that's our goal, is to help the county. So if you go to the next slide, we'll get into the actual, what you're here for. I'll show you the money. This is what you want to see and how we're doing. I'm the finance person, so that's what we want. So if you go to the next one. So we'll start with our cash and revenue review. One of the things to start this off with, as a organization, we're kind of in a mixed transitional period with our financial software. Unfortunately, right now, as an organization, we have to use 5 different softwares to bring you information regarding our finances. We have Great Plains, we have Tyler, we have Sage, we have QuickBooks, and we have Excel. So we kind of have to Frankenstein our numbers together, which is not optimal. We do have a plan for that, and that was in the budget to buy a software that will condense all those basically into just 2 or 3, 2 softwares instead of 5. But to move forward with that, we just have to wait for the Tyler implementation to finalize and be put together so we can do that. But as far as our budget, you can see, just as a reminder, this is what was sent in the last budget cycle. Our overall mental health budget was close to 22 million, DCL 3.7 million, and CRP just a little bit there, but overall, we're budgeted to be about $25.5 million in revenue as an organization. The next one. Per our budget, you see that 95% of our funds come from Medicaid and state grants, with 67% of them, of course, coming from Medicaid through our MCOs. So when I say show me the money, that's where our money is inflowing from. Next one, please. If you look at this slide, it talks about the mental health cash position per month. These come from our STAR reports. Like I said, we're still working out better ways to do financial reporting. And so until then, we just go with the best information we can. What you want to be aware of on this slide, the red is our distributions. That means that's cash going out of the organization, and green is cash coming into the organization. Obviously, overall, I think this is a good way of looking at your organization anyways, because we all know in finance, you can figure out revenue and expenses and try to make numbers look a little wet there, but cash, you can't really, cash is king. So this is an overall picture. And so what you want to look for is where the red may be over top of the green, which means we had more cash going out than we had coming in that month. As you can see, that's only happened 3 times. And generally when that happens, it's because we have a 3 payroll period month where we're paying that out. And so, but you can see on general, since last January of 2025, we've only had 3 times where we've put out more cash, than we brought in, which is great to see. The black line is the budget line, kind of just our bar that we try to set where we're at. And then at the very bottom, you see our trending cash position since last July 25, which is also nice to see because it's flat. It's growing, but it's not spiky. We don't want to see a lot of up and down, up and down. We want to see that smooth trend, which means our contracts are increasing gradually. Our visits are increasing gradually. We're being efficient and stuff like that. Us finance people don't like, big pitfalls, ups and downs and spikes. We like smooth, no news is good news. We like smooth. And so that's what you're seeing right now. And that's what you've seen since July of 25, according to our cash reports. So if you go to the next one, you'll see that in this one, it shows that this is our actuals, our budget, and our prior year. In the green, you'll see overall that that compared to prior year, we're up 10%. Compared to budget, we're down 6%. We're on track right now to bring in $25 million. You can see at the bottom of the first column of actuals, year to date, we're at $12,065,206 for the year. As far as being down to the budget, you can see that I think I wasn't here during the last budget cycle, and I think there was some turnover, and I know there was some software things going on. So there's a lot of empty lines in there, and I think that maybe had to do with the way the budget was put together at the time. And so I'm hoping with this next budget cycle, I know we'll try to make this a little more clear and make a little more sense. The one I have in yellow is just because in the budget for miscellaneous client other, they had put 240,000, which I think was an error because it's never been that high. I think that 240,000 was supposed to be put up where commercial insurance and client fees were, but that's just what's in the numbers right now. So I just pointed that out because it's a weird anomaly if you look. And so to be honest, because budget seemed to be a little off because of what was going on, I've mostly been tracking us compared to prior year and compared to budget. And so from prior year, we have a good story. Like I said, we're up about 10%. However, we are down so far 5.5% from budget. So if you go to the next slide, we've talked about where we get the money coming in. Let's talk about how we spend our money. So this was the budget that was submitted for how we spend our money. You can see there's 2 things circled. One is payrolls and salary, which we'll talk about in a little bit more. And there's just some other weird ones in there that you'll see because as commissioners, you often get sent a lot of travel and training requests. And there's a reason for that. Travel and training is, although it seems like a lot of money, it's only about 1.2% of our budget, 1.5%, but it's about $300,000, which seems like a lot of money. But then when you look at our budget in total, you realize it's not quite as big as it sounds. A lot of the other reasons why you see a lot of travel and training in there also is because all those 40-some contracts we get, most of those contracts have a built-in training requirement or stuff like that, because they want when they give us that work to do, they want to make sure our workforce is up to date with the newest trainings and stuff like that. And so you'll often see a lot of training and travel from Renew. It's just the nature of our business. We have that in our budget, but like I said, our budgets are all cost neutral. And so we don't go out for training and travel unless it's in the budget and it's part of the contract. Very often it's built in for us. And so if we go to the next slide, how do we spend our money? You can kind of see here, 77% of our money is employee expense. That's what makes it up. And you want to go to the next one. Some key points. And so here's our actuals compared to our budgets for what we have. Again, we have a lot of holes in our way that we have to be able to report things just because of our transition in our finance software between the county and everything else. But you can see that overall expenses are down 9.6 from budget. So we're trending lower than budget with our expenses. Payroll overall is down 6.1%, but that's only due to lower taxes and benefits. My biggest concern is our FTEs are lower than budget, but our salaries are higher. So I got to kind of figure out what's going on there. We have a lower amount of FTEs, but our salaries over than what we budgeted. And so I don't know if that's a formula in our budgeting process last year or what it is, but it's just kind of, they shouldn't track. If our FTEs are up, our dollars should be up. If our FTEs are down, we should be able to see a lower amount of salaries. And it's not really working out right now. And so we'll be keeping a close eye on that in the next few months to kind of see what's going on. If it's just an anomaly or what's going on with that. Like I said, due to the new accounting system and implementation, too many expenses are being classified into miscellaneous. You can see in our actual. So that's not something we want either, because that doesn't give us a real good line of sight. Like, what are you spending your money on? It's all in miscellaneous. Right. Well, unfortunately, the way that it was set up in Tyler and stuff, that's kind of forced us into using these accounts that we were able to use in Great Plains, but we weren't able to use in Tyler. And so we're working with the county right now to try to update our chart of accounts with them so we can have better line of sight, so we can get a little more things out of miscellaneous and kind of track our expenses. That's really important for us. One, because it helps us to be more transparent, especially to the community and everything else. Two, we operate on 40 grants. Those grants, when we submit reimbursement for those, they'll come in and say, well, what are you spending your money on? And we have to be able to show them what we spent our money on. It can't just be in a miscellaneous bucket and so on. And so, but we expect that to be better coming up as we move forward with the county. So if you go to the next slide, it just kind of gives us an actual FTE count per month and kind of shows where we've been trending compared to budget. I think the lowest one you'll see is the one I circled. At the very left side, you'll see the budget that was submitted for FTEs. And so 115 there, and right now we're at 108. So we're still a little short on our budgeted FTE amounts overall as a group. The other ones were pretty close to what we had budgeted. Well, if you go to the next slide, this kind of talks about the key challenges we have at Renew, and this is informational. Since our employee costs are 77% of our costs, it requires us as management to look at these things a certain way. First of all, with that, we have to be aware of burnout and fatigue, recruitment and retention, time and effort allocations, credentialing and CPE is a big issue for us to make sure everybody's like that. And then revenue is dependent on staff availability. And so employees are in constant need of updating their licenses and skill. This is another reason why you'll see a lot of travel and training with Renew employees. But like I said, those things are always built into the budgets of what we do. Revenue is often only generated when clinicians provide services. So vacant positions reduce us both expenses and revenue simultaneously. Anytime we get a vacancy in one of our employees, it creates service gaps and reduces billable revenue. And then another thing with burnout fatigue. So in the mental health landscape and with employees, that's a known issue. Dealing with the issues that they deal with all the time creates a compassion fatigue and burnout in our area. And a lot of their contracts, people know this, and so they provide retention payments as part of the contract. We do have many of our contracts right now, we have retention payments available for new staff, and we need to close out those contracts. And the only thing we have left on there is some of the retention payments that we can be doling out to our employees as part of that. They do that for a variety of reasons. One, it helps with burnout fatigue. One, mostly it helps with retention, helps keep people in the field when they know those things happen. And so they are an important part of why they're built in there. It does help keep the people we want in place here. And like I've shown before, our employees being here in the county not only just help county residents with their mental health services, but they're good county residents. They buy stuff, they live here, they pay property taxes. And we want to keep as many employees as we can. And so we need to get these retention payments out to close these contracts. If we decide not to do that, then that puts us in jeopardy for future contracts where they'll say, well, if you're not going to use it, we'll give it to some other organization that will. And they may reduce our contracts in total. And so this is where it goes back to the apples and oranges thing. We are different because these aren't built into probably other county contracts that they get. But because we're a mental health service and we're a behavioral health clinic, these things are normal in our business, but they wouldn't be normal in some other businesses. And so I just want to make you aware of that because they'll probably bring something like that for you in the next couple of weeks, kind of a proposal for those, and let you discuss what you think is right. As far as the next slide, since we're halfway through the year, these are budget readjustments that we see for the last part of the year. As far as it goes, one of the things that you have to be aware of is the county's on a January through December budget, whereas almost 100% of our contracts are on a July through June budget. And that's why you'll see at this time of year, like what you had before, where Carillon and all these other contractors will say, we have $200,000 left over for this. Do you want to do these services? And so even within the last 45 days, we've had different state organizations reach out to us and say, we'll give you money for more jail services. We'll give you more money for putting people in schools, for more crisis services. Do you want this money right now to do that? And that creates a little bit of tension because we've already submitted an FTE budget in January, but often in July and August is when they'll come up with these other additional funds. And the reason they come to renew for these funds is because we've built such a good reputation within the state. And it's a pat on the back, not only to the county, but to our organization, that they're looking to us for these, they don't, and so oftentimes, like I said, you'll be asked to approve FTEs mid-year. And that's not because we missed them in the budget. It's because this time of year is when they figure out how much has been spent, how much hasn't been spent. Do you want to provide more services? And we're at the point where we often look at these things, we run them through a budget, and we say, are they cost neutral? Can we squeeze it out? Is it good for the county? And we'll make that decision. And so be aware of that in the fall and when we bring things to you like that. As far as the only other things we have is to date, most of our contracts have been rolled over to next year with a slight increase. We don't expect a drastic drop in revenue, if any drop in revenue. The majority of revenue has been collected from these expiring contracts. We feel payroll expenses should remain constant since most have been negotiated for various unions and various plans. Like I said, with those retention payments, I think those would go a long way. Not only will they help us close out our contract, but I know with like the ongoing salary survey and the union negotiations, being able to provide those to our employees, I think would do a lot of goodwill also, as well as helping with our retention and keeping people in place that we need to be in place. And then with the plan changes to our Plum Street building, we're expecting a small decrease in visits. However, we are making plans to accommodate any loss of meeting spaces and to try to keep operations and county things going as often and with as least amount of disruptions as possible. So that's all I got. So did a lot of talking. So whatever questions you got, hit me with them, And so, like I said,
sounds like you're doing good.
we're trying, I've walked into a good situation as far as financially, we have our cash is strong, our contracts are strong and they've been growing. We have rainy day fund, we have money, in case things do turn south on us. Our main concern is growth and just the ability to grow. We could serve a lot more and we could grow a lot more. But to do that, of course, we just need to be able to work hand in hand with the county. And we can grow as much as the county basically allows us to grow in some ways. But I think over the years, Renew has shown that it's been good with its finances. It's been a good fiduciary agent with it and done a good job. And so we hope to continue that trend and, keep moving forward.
I think Dell does a great job.
He does.
Thank you. I also do a mid-year report for all staff. So that's being scheduled as well for us to do a presentation that's all staff that I lead out and facilitate on that. And once we have that date solidified, I'll make sure you all have the invitation.
Actually, you look way clearer if I leave my glasses on.
Huh.
Sorry, I'm into that.
And you guys can join that. And it's not available virtually, but we usually host it at the Most Lake Civic Center Auditorium. So I try to do a report out twice a year where bring everyone together. We talk about the budget, what we're looking forward to the year, and then at the mid-year, I talk about where we're at currently. And we'll use a lot of this information as well as preparing for the Moses Lake renovation and where we're at on services and those kind of things. But just trying to be more transparent with our staff and what's happening in the organization.
Dell, and I will say you've increased revenue, you've increased services, so you've brought a lot to the table. Just seeing people faster than what 6 months for a crisis was kind of not working real good. So thank you for speeding up that,
right,
crisis intake.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of really great opportunities, and I appreciate a lot of the support on that. Matt touched base on the retention funds that ties back into those enhancement funds that we've had throughout the years. And so we're talking about these retention dollars. One of the things this year that's holding people up is the salary surveys taking longer than I think expected. Our union negotiations are moving into like mediations because of the issues regarding about what we can pay staff. And so we have right around $600,000 that are enhancement funds that I'm working with Matt on to see what kind of distribution we could get to staff to really reward them for staying and to get that commitment to stay and continue to see what's going to come of this other process, because I know they are feeling like, hey, what's happening out there? We haven't seen any increase to our salaries. We haven't seen that. And so we do have funds that we can get something out to them. And so that's what Matt was mentioning, that we'll work on that process and get a proposal to you.
And from my point of view, I want to close out the grants, and I'm the type who wants to use every dollar that's given to us, because then when they roll over that grant, they'll say they used this so much, so they'll increase, what we used. And if we leave money on the table, then they will cut. And they'll claw back stuff.
Yeah, work with HR and that
Yep.
retention.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
And then at
Because
12 o'clock, we have another meeting.
Yeah.
But Dell, did you get your question answered on part-time individuals?
Yeah.
Working, okay, go ahead and, I guess if there's a need to go from full-time to part-time, that you have the ability to do that.
Okay.
And then, right, Kevin? I don't think we've ever tried not to micromanage that.
Yeah, I just want to try to see what the market is for part-time first.
Sure.
And, but then if we need to adjust in 2 weeks and say, oh, let's do make these full-time, and we'll just adjust where they spend their time.
And then I think
I'm good with that.
telehealth or working from home,
Mhm.
if you want to kind of bring us a plan or
Yeah,
how
so
that.
I know you guys got to get, my issue with the telehealth is it's not supported countywide. And that does create a conflict, I think, for county employees across the board. But I am noticing from a market perspective, we are losing employees to these telehealth opportunities.
There's more and more telehealth.
Yes,
I would say
so they can stay home and do their job.
We're gonna lose
Yes,
it. And I
yes.
think even the client
Yeah.
enjoys telehealth.
Just from a business perspective, I need it to create new access. So when I think of that, I think if these people could be available in the early evening and get people who are working that don't have access to mental health services. So I'm trying to look at it from.
No, I think it is something, kind of looking into that world, that's definitely an opportunity we're losing and we need
Yeah.
to jump into it. So.
Absolutely.
And often, I've been told by some employees, I go on telehealth as a county employee. It's offered by the county, but I can't offer it as a
Yeah.
Renew employee.
Right.
And so they're like, let's.
No, I get it.
You know
We
what I'm saying?
offer
It's
it,
a
but it's
real
from the
thing.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. All right.
All right. Thank you guys.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
thank you. If you have any follow-up questions or anything, email me or Dell.
Okay, yeah.
If you
and a
look
lot of
through it
information I
and
wrote down, so
Have any
thank
other
you, Matt.
questions? We come every quarter now. I think we talked about doing this every quarter. But you don't have to wait to every quarter if you have questions about what's going
Oh,
on
don't worry.
with us. Yeah.
Dell's always.
Yeah.
checking in,
So
so.
feel
Thank you
free.
guys. Yep, we'll see you
Thank
later.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Good afternoon. Yeah, we'll see you.
Next.
So too, we'll move into our
Yeah.
commissioner. tourism
Sorry, our
work
last
session.
meeting went a little long. Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fabulous.
You are, that's great.
Fabulous.
No Mr. Jones today?
He's out for a bit. Unless he might call in. He was supposed to be telehealth. He was supposed to be remote.
So you just get the two important ones.
Our two favorite ones.
Boy, you're putting your life on a limb saying that in public. I like all three of you equally.
Okay, that's a great answer.
Okay,
Okay.
we're ready to start?
Yes.
Okay.
So we scheduled this work session, the request of the board, to talk about the tourism travel planner. But then also at the July tourism meeting, there were a couple of requests that were discussed for 2027 planning that should be discussed with the board before anything further happens with that. So, where the board would like to start, but
I don't have any meeting minutes, so I'm not really. from the last one.
you were part of the emails for the discussion, but it's okay. So the travel planner,
Yeah,
You
the
guys
travel
want- you
planner
wanna
was
start
part of
there?
it, and then the printing of the travel planner
yes.
and whatever else that needs to be discussed.
Well, we acquiesce to you guys. We understand. I think that the printer was a problem. That you guys the legal didn't want the printer to go forward, right?
So we had some issues with their contractors. We were trying to work on the contract and kept going back and forth and
We could never come to an agreement.
Mhm.
Their attorney kept saying that everything's good, we're ready to go, and then we find out that that's not the case. Our legal comes back to us and says, no, that's not what I agreed to. So this has been an ongoing thing for what, 4 months?
well, I think we had the
It's been a
attorneys working
saga for
together
several
and
years,
then
hasn't it?
somebody from the company would jump in and start working, not informing the attorney what was going on their side. So it was a real mess. So here we are in July. We thought, do we want to really send that out? I think we kind of took a pause. So here we are.
Why don't you talk about what you suggested at a meeting?
Yeah, so our suggestion from the committee, from when we had discussed this, just within ourselves, and especially when we're talking about next year's budget, we went through, we didn't budget anything for new design or printing for a 2027 magazine, thinking that with the current magazine, we could ask the publishers to do a quick 26-27 in the corner and then make it go through the rest of this year, which is great because people are planning their summer trips over the fall, winter, and spring. And so still getting this out distributed as quickly
as possible, but not planning on doing any further printing through 2027 or any updates, which is just as expensive. Or likely any distribution in 2027. I think we paid certified folder once and then they continue to distribute until there's something left over, or we can just, encourage them to use all the pieces that they have, because I also believe in the past they've returned some. And so just making sure that everything that we have gets distributed and taken away before we print the next one.
And I think some of the things we talked about is, do we do a lesser print run? We know that we had an impasse, or
Those
we
are
had.
things that we talked about but didn't agree on.
That's
for the
true.
current-
Yes,
the
that's
current
true. That's
packet.
true. I'm just kind of talking in general here, no decisions or recommendations, but we talked about, could we just get by with just the digital one this year and post that and promote that and save the printing? That's one option. A lesser print run's a second option. We know we have some funds left over for this year because of the cancellation of the contract. What are we going to do with some of those resources? So there's a lot of things. So I guess the first thing we should say is thank you for having us in for a planning session on the travel planner and anything else that you want to discuss with us.
So, and the group voted on moving forward with the 2026, 2027.
That was the consensus of the committee, what would be our favorite option going forward.
So that's your recommendation.
Yes.
That's a simple design change.
And then moving forward with finding a new printer and getting it out as soon as possible, as well as getting it published online as a PDF. And I saw that J. Ray reached out with a couple options. Obviously, the least expensive one of issue is probably the easiest one. I don't know if the links that they sent us, because some online PDFs, there are ways to hyperlink. You could have every hotel that you have in there, for instance, a restaurant that could become a clickable link on a PDF. I'm not sure if Issue does that at the price point that they suggested, but the easiest thing would just be to get that issue, which I think was $250 a year, and get it published online so we can have it connected to our app and website and social media.
Is that the flip book version that we asked
It's
for?
Yeah, it's an online flip book.
Yeah. ISSUZZU, that one.
ISSUU.
Yeah.
Well, I like that $250.
Yeah, for the year. Like I said, with the higher subscription prices, it does become more interactive. But since we don't have anyone to manage that right now, probably the least expensive, most basic one would be the best option.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the group's recommendation on moving forward the printing. We just thought by the time it gets out here, 26 is almost over, but to do 2026, 2027.
Yeah, because most of the information in there is not time sensitive. It's kind of like our kiosks, that we had. They're a little bit outdated now, but they're still usable if we can figure out a way to change some of the artwork on them. Right.
Yeah, and I would just hate to save it. I mean, we've spent $40,000-$60,000 on it already. And so to not move forward with the project, I think would be unfortunate.
Do we have a printer in mind, or we?
No, the board's direction was not to seek any new quotes until after this work session. So would the board like me to reach out to printers for updated quotes?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should. Is there anybody locally that can do something like that, or is it typically
Phoenix
outside?
Printers was working on a quote when the last time we had this conversation, but then the board had decided to try to continue with Journal Graphics. But they are able to work a quote together, and they're who we use for our business cards and a lot of our printing.
So they quite a bit more than.
We never got their quote back
We
because
never
the
got that
board
far.
decided not
Yeah,
to
I would
continue.
What about Purple Coyote right here?
Purple Coyote said that they did not think they would do a good job with the printing, so they declined. There was one in Spokane that we had received, and I think actually there were two from Spokane that we had received, and then we were in the process of working with A&H printers when the board decided.
John, you have a comment?
I would very much doubt A&A Printers won't have a better rate, because what they will do, or maybe they will, what they will do is send it out to be printed. And then they will charge us a handling fee, because we're asking for a magazine to be printed, and technically what they're making is copies through a copier machine. And so these, when we send the magazine out, actually gets a plate made and they old fashioned print it. But maybe, we could go through A&H and maybe they would find someone in North Carolina that'll print it really cheap, and then.
There's a lot of online printers in Montana and all kinds of stuff. So then the other thing, you get the cheaper rate on printing and then you got to ship it. And so that's the difference
I
too.
think the only, it becomes a little more messy when, like the publisher J. Ray said, is that they usually upload it directly to the printer for us. And if A&H is a middleman, then maybe J. Ray will send it to A&H, who will then send it, or maybe they'll have them direct. I don't know, but certainly
I'll
following
talk to
through with
Spencer
the
and
rate
see.
is fine.
And when you talk about online printers, you talk like Vistaprint, because Vistaprint does travel and tourism type stuff.
Yeah,
as
I
well,
used to
like
print a magazine for our high school and I did it all online. I had it locally designed and then uploaded it and they would print it and ship it. So Vistaprint's just one of many. Print Center USA is another one. But that's what they do.
I'm okay with
You know, kind of wanted to work with J. Ray, since they're the ones that do this all the time, and I wish the relationship with our contracting worked out better than it did, but it was really a mess.
Well, I
So
think
they might have another one.
I'm not speaking for the committee, I'll just speak for myself. I think we're just trying to recalibrate quite a bit on the tourism committee. And I think it's timely. You're not the only group that I'm involved in that's doing recalibration on how to do business better. And so I think that this is just a good time for the collaborative efforts to kick in and figure out what's best in the use of public funds.
I don't know that on some of those, depending on how much it is, like Vistaprint, I don't know if they even do a contract. I don't know if you can.
No, you can go online and do a bid and it's pretty quick. Mhm.
I'm sorry, sir, I don't know.
I'm Tom Gaines, I'm the county administrator.
Oh,
Sorry.
wonderful to meet you.
Good to meet you.
More food for thought. So maybe we could reach out to
A&H and the two.
A&H and then J. Ray, see if they have I don't know. I feel like they're kind of the experts here on that file. I don't think I've printed a magazine before, so I don't have a whole lot of.
I'm so old, I've done it for a lot of years in a lot of different formats. And so what you can do nowadays is a lot easier than you could do 30 years ago. That's for sure.
I will reach out then to A&H, the two printers in Spokane, and I can also reach out to J. Ray for suggestions of printers. I will bring those to the board and to the committee.
Does the board still want us to print the 40,000? I think that we talk about 40,000. That's what we had budgeted, right?
Mhm.
Do we still want to print the 40,000? Because that's a savings if we don't print 40, but.
I do want to throw out there that the agreement with Certified Folder was already signed for distribution, because at the time that it went to consent, there was a deadline for signing it. It actually was a walk-on that week, but
Was that for 40,000?
so it was, but since we are now so late in the year, they have sent us a list of updated numbers for it, and I believe it is still working with 40,000 that they can distribute, but either way, I mean, you still have. I'm sorry, this one shows 26.5, because right now they're just distributing the magazines from last year that they had left over. So I can confirm the total amount of slots that they still have left, and we can work with that. But we do have that contract with Certified Folder already in place. Well, one way or another, we're going to be paying them to distribute. Okay.
Remember the name of the companies that spoke in? Just off the top of your head. You don't have to look it up.
I can tell you by the end of the day, but
Oh, sorry.
I just sent Spencer a message, so we'll see if he can respond back to me. See what he does.
Is he at A&H?
Yeah, they're going through a little bit of a changeover right now, so.
Okay, so I think we got that one tackled. Do we have another one?
The other topic that I had on the agenda, there were a couple of requests discussed at the July tourism meeting that I believe are ones that should be discussed with the board. So there was discussion about having merchandise to sell for revenue. There was also discussion about discontinuation of the app and purchase of contracting with somebody to create a website for tourism. And then I also have a note about hosting a tourism conference. So I don't know if Sean and Pam want to discuss.
Okay,
those.
so discontinue the app.
That was not a recommendation of the
It was a
committee.
discussion point.
Okay, so, okay, we'll scratch that off
We
then.
figured Pam especially is the vocal proponent to canceling the app. It is 20,000 a year or 15. And we only have about 600 users on it. We currently have an active campaign at the Gorge Amphitheater that Pam also put together for us on their large screens on either side of the stage. And so we have running ads for the app right now. So we'll see, we wanted to see how well that does, and then also get the recommendation of the upcoming hire of what they see as a full spectrum of marketing for the county, and get their recommendation. And of course, if they recommend we cut it, then we would.
You're talking about that app, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a great app.
It looks
Well,
really
you are one of
nice,
600 people. No,
as am I.
no, I think I have one too.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm hoping we also have a little bit of time to talk about is obviously the job description for the tourism person. But we looked at a site called Moab, Utah. And that was, Caitlin, I don't know if you have a chance to kind of pull that up. That was the idea, to transition away from maybe having the website Civic Plus used and go to a more tourism kind of website that could be updated easier. And that, the way websites work now is they translate into pretty neat mobile applications as well. Years ago, they didn't do that, but now they do. And so that was my thinking. We spent $15,000 the first year, and I think we spent $12,000 the second year on the app. And we put flyers out and decals out and all that kind of stuff. I'm just looking at an alternative consideration for where we can get more bang for our buck.
So it's difficult, especially with apps. So Spokane County Civic Plus runs something called Pick Your City on the Go, Spokane County on the Go, right? That's their app. I think it's awesome. It's beautiful. Everything I need to do with the county of Spokane, I can do right here. And they're spending $30,000 a year on that, and they have 800 people using it. So they're thinking about getting rid of it because they're having a difficult time justifying that. And it's amazing.
What you hear
Can't
from,
get anybody to use it.
to do it right, what you hear from the private sector is people are getting sick and tired of putting apps on their phones. I mean, my granddaughter counted my apps the other day and I had like 150 apps. I'm like, holy crap, I need to go in there and take some of that
Well,
stuff
if
off
the-
there.
Yeah, tourism committee or advisory board, if you want to have some further discussion on that and kind of bring it back to us, see how that works.
Yeah, I think we'll have to wait. We need numbers from after the Gorge Amphitheater ad runs, and then also hoping for a recommendation from the new hire as well. But I think at that point, we'll definitely have a hard look at it. And I think part of the app as well was sort of a crutch we were using, since the tourism website through the county's web world is not super beautiful or functional. It's not like it totally is functional, like everything works. But when you look at another destination locations website, it's got these big, bright, photos that you scroll through and then it shows more and you kind of have that same motion as you would on an app of going through and being able to click through and see the different amenities and links. And ours very much looks like a
So
government
maybe the
website.
15 or 20,000
So-
we choose on the app would be,
So just out of curiosity, so I remember that discussion and setting it up because it's a very cheap way to get a website up and running, right? You know,
Yes.
and managed and it's secure and it's definitely safe and yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
There is opportunity to make it look any way you want. It costs. Our sheriff uses the exact same website you guys do, but we pay a licensing fee for them to have their own colors, their own look, their own makeup.
I do want to jump in real fast too, as I've reminded the committee a few times, we are in the middle of an update for the website with design. And for the tourism's department head package, they were provided all of the branding materials that was created by Rochelle, the marketing manager. And there was a delay on the launch of it just due to some other department head packages that were not responding by the timelines. They anticipate it'll be up here in the next month. And that update also includes a more functional mobile feature. So.
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't aware of that, so. Yeah, but those opportunities do exist and you just have to do a cost analysis. to see.
Right. I think
That
all
would
of
be
this stuff is tough because we don't necessarily have these collaborative discussions over all the people that need to be in there. I kind of use the three-legged stool. It should be like the commissioners and the committee and then whoever our support staff is, right? And if we all work on the same goal, regardless of what the end product is, we'll get a better discussion. But we tend to have this back and forth because we have hiccups. Like we had a big hiccup last year that Kevin had to solve with the planner, right? So we thought we were going in the right direction with an RFP and we still have a hiccup. So we're gonna always have hiccups, but at least we should have collaborative discussions on, are we going where the board wants us to go? And are you listening to the advice of the advisory committee? Because that's who you appointed us to be.
Also, I think it's tough because we all come from private industry that's not government. And so we are getting the updates monthly that the website has not been changed over for various, reasons. And so I think it's hard for us to not try to problem solve in the meantime to get some of these big projects that we feel are, go to our website and then it's just not that appealing, And so I think that we want to problem solve this. And so I think that's part of where we're coming from too. And we feel like if we had our own website separate than the county, that we could be, doing this. But now the employee will be internal from the county and it sounds like there's updates and it sounds like there's additional packages that we could purchase through the county. So I think that's definitely some options that we'd like to look at. And I think, again, also the website discussion came up again because as Pam mentioned, there is some money left over in our budget for several reasons.
okay, so more to come on that.
So A&H Printer said, I have access to a trade-only partner that has the ability to do a catalog.
Okay.
So I asked him what would that look like, and I haven't heard back, so I'll try to get some more information on that.
Great.
Kevin?
How many pages are we?
It's 64
64 pages.
plus cover, I think.
Okay, merchandise. You want to sell merchandise?
Yeah, I don't think we even budgeted money for merchandise. I think it was just a discussion.
This is the kind of thing sometimes that we see that LTAC keeps money back before. And
those
so,
little green
and the
ducks.
little green duck.
So
rocks
it's
favorably.
LTAC. I thought it was tourism, so
No,
LTAC.
please don't blame.
Yeah,
these.
please don't. Yeah, this isn't us.
I love these actually.
Yeah.
These are old school, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've been here a long
2 years.
time. I like those.
But a lot of community tourism groups obviously produce merchandise that then can be sold in the retailers in their community, right?
Yeah.
To help with that. So this was just something that was brought up. I mean, I was in Kingston on Saturday And they had an old-fashioned kiosk, and there were people standing there looking at the kiosk right at the dock. And then I walked around to where the Chamber of Commerce had a beer garden, and they were selling merchandise that had all these little cute emblems about all the assets of the area. So it's very timely to at least discuss some of this stuff. And if it doesn't fit, then it doesn't fit. But we don't want to overlook an opportunity that might be a beneficial, especially when you're talking with costs.
And I think the big discussion comes from if we can take money in at all. Because that was a question over the app as well. In other areas, the county maybe would be the app administrator, but then say Chambers of Commerce could pay a certain amount and be on our app with us. But again, it's the same thing as merchandise. We're selling and receiving money within the county for something we're doing. And I don't think that process has ever been like sussed out or explained to us how that would happen.
The last time a discussion about revenue was brought up, the direction that was given by the board was that tourism could seek outside grants and they would be managed by Carrie as a pass-through. So the direction that was given was for tourism to work with Carrie to apply, and then Carrie would manage the grant distribution. And I believe at that time, when it came to revenue discussions, there was talk about merchandise, and I think it came up because there was conversation about like ad sharing or cost sharing with ads for the planner. And the conclusion of that discussion was outside grants as the option for revenue sources.
Well, one of the projects I think that the county is doing right is the fact that you had started with the fairgrounds having Placer AI, and then LTAC funded an upgrade to that so that tourism can now utilize that software. So that's that collaborative kind of thing. I know that the fairgrounds uses their own video team and whatever. Well, we never even thought about talking to them and have that video company bid when we're
I
doing
didn't
it.
even know we had a video team.
Yeah, because when we got the commercials for the commercials at the Gorge are 15 seconds and there's 5 different topics. And so we wanted one on rodeo. So I went to Jim and said, what do you got? And so his video guy sent what we needed from that.
Well,
So that's the kind of collaboration I'm interested in making, because the chambers themselves all get LTAC money as well. And so we don't really know how we can help them. What Jim said is, can we put up some of the stuff from the fairgrounds on the tourism TikTok? And I thought, that's pretty reasonable. That's an easy thing. Doesn't cost anybody. It just put it in the mix. So that's kind of where I think our recalibration needs to go, collaborating better.
I don't know who his video guy is either.
Jeremy,
Oh.
I think Jeremy did last year.
Oops.
Sorry.
Anyways,
Well, and the rodeo and the fair is separate too, so I don't know if Jim
Yeah.
sent it to his guy or if he sent it
The
to the rodeo who
definitely
sent
has
it.
more money than
I mean, if you look at how much LTAC funded in rodeo, it's a lot.
Mhm.
And we had very little in tourism about rodeos.
Well, I would suggest that tourism ask for funds for promotional items. I really thought, well, now it makes sense why Jerry was always the one ordering stuff, because he was over LTAC.
Mhm.
I just thought it was.
Mhm.
Hey, Clayton did a rodeo Saturday night and they set an all-time attendance record. Clayton, Washington, yeah, north of Deer
Oh,
Park.
okay.
It was massive, standing room only.
Well, it sounds like previously when we had talked about trying to generate income, the county said only grants.
Yes,
Was
that,
the only
you guys were
income.
at that meeting. That was the direction that came out of that, was for the
Only
outside.
grants.
Okay, so I guess if they were to sell merchandise, well, we would have to figure out how to, because like the fairground sells things.
And again, it's not something that the committee recommended, it was just something we discussed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, discussion.
So I think
points
we would
that
have to figure out how to.
Well, I think we should go to like all the people that get LTAC and say, if we collaborated on merchandise, what would you think would help your activities or whatever? And then maybe tourism helps gets it designed and then offloads the design. So that way the county could use our tourism logos and stuff on the stuff. Something like that. Doesn't have to be that we all print t-shirts.
Would that not fall under the scope of the marketing coordinator?
I think so.
Mhm.
And I
I
think the most likely income generator in the future alongside merchandise, which is, I think, fairly complicated. But if our marketing manager takes over the travel planner, and then we sell ads. So that would be a very likely income revenue stream for us. So if, they can pursue that within the county without us having to be involved when they get here.
I was at the Seahawk
And they
training
will go to
yesterday
that
and their
27,
yearbook is this
figure it out.
big. And it's more than 50% advertising. So it can be a lucrative thing if we need to expand our revenue stream, that's for sure.
Okay, no, I like that.
And
Okay.
if you have somebody sell it, I mean, there's been models where somebody else sells it and then if they get all the revenue from the advertising, then they give you a return. But that wasn't something that we included in that we didn't see that in the bids we did through the RFP, that revenue share type thing.
No, J rate, well,
Yeah.
we decided not to.
We can wait until our new marketing person is here,
Great.
I guess, to finish that discussion. Okay, tourism conference. Right, unless I don't
No,
want to
go
be
ahead.
moving too fast, but
No, I love it.
tourism conference.
Yeah, we thought it would be really worthwhile for all of the invested parties of Grant County tourism to get together and to share about the app and talk about unique problems for us and what they're seeing and what they're hearing. And that's not happening right now. And so one idea that was thrown out there was to piggyback somehow on the LEAD Summit that the EDC puts on and to possibly just have a long breakfast session or, maybe a dinner after the last day or somehow piggybacking onto that for specifically tourism industry people and really trying to get folks there.
Yeah, because the EDC uses tourism as part of their economic development plan. But that part to me is they look for hotels to bring in or other support kind of businesses to locate here. And that's different than what I think our charge is to get the visitors to come and utilize those. So a collaborative thing is probably a really smart thing.
Well, we're still in the planning session for this year's LEAD conference. So, I can certainly float that to Brent.
Yeah, no, I think that would be neat to have that in tourism.
We have the same problem with our port. They market that they're in tourism and, they got a grant from LTAC for their event center that is not anywhere near a tourism thing because we don't have a hotel to welcome people to come and stay, right?
So just out of curiosity, if we did have like a breakout session or something at the LEAD conference, somebody on the advisory committee would be able to put together a PowerPoint or some kind of.
She did a really good job last year, our chairman.
Yeah, thank you. And I think it would really be like information gathering and information sharing. When is the LEAD Summit?
It's November.
So it would possibly, we might have a new marketing manager by then, maybe?
Hopefully.
Maybe. I think that's like a gray time period. So that would be great, but we did have a panel last year at the LEAD Summit and went really well. We had tons of questions and lots of follow-up, but a breakout session for tourism would be great.
One of the things that we know we want to capitalize on is just our location in the state. We don't do a very good job of reminding people how easily they can access Grant County from both directions. And so we were hoping that,
Right now.
yeah, well, yeah, not right now with Vantage. Hey, it was one lane coming up the hill from Vantage this morning, all the way to Silica Road. But we missed an opportunity, unfortunately, with FIFA, with all the people that were traveling. And so we just are thinking a little bit bigger for future. But Central Washington is a big positive theme.
Well, I
We're
think
easy
we
to
had
get
a
to.
pretty, it sounds like by the numbers, we had a pretty positive campaign on Travelocity, which was the official partner of FIFA, and it looks like our paid Expedia, thank you. And we got, looks like quite a bit of traffic from there. And I've been hearing from lots of people, like I know the Moses Lake Museum has welcomed quite a few people from out of the country, Australia, Egypt, which makes sense because they all had games in Seattle. So we did get some traffic, and they did use, some of our not so obvious amenities, so.
And we also know that we've been talking for a while to build our YouTube channel. We're really excited. Hopefully we can get that done with the new marketing person. And we've talked about how do we tap into tour bus companies, right? So this morning, on my way back from the other side, I stopped at Frit Meyer to use the ladies' room, and there was a tour company in there. And they were from Australia, and they came through British Columbia. So I went to the tour driver and said, how do we get on your list of coming to visit our county? And so that's a really easy, not very expensive way to get more travelers here. And that was something we were hoping previous management would help with, and they did not do that. So press releases and reaching out to tour companies, there's a lot of stuff we haven't tapped into.
And some days, Pam, I'm thinking District 3 has enough tourism over the weekends.
Yeah, but they're not always, it's not 52 weeks a year, Cindy.
I know, I'm like, oh man, sometimes be careful what you pray for.
I think when I saw tourism conference on the list as well, I was thinking was the tourism conference that we had asked to go to, and funding for that was denied. And so I guess I do have a question on that. Will we ever get to travel out of state to a conference?
Okay, funding was denied.
No, I'd like to clarify.
Thank you.
I received the request to attend the Destination International Conference in Portland in July. And when I came back from my time off and got to actually reading the notes, it was like a week and a half away before the conference. So we would have had to like walk it onto consent for the out of state. I ran it by Tom at the time, and Tom had.
I had some questions. I had some questions about the wording, not necessarily the request, but the conference itself and what its purpose was. And at first blush, it was like, wait a minute, we're only like a week away. It's gonna be hard to get this approved, and that doesn't actually seem like it really. What value was it going to bring? And I may be wrong, and maybe next year is a different time to look at that. But it looked like it was really about a very specific thing, not tourism in general. But that's how it.
Caitlin, now I'm sorry, I didn't know anything about it. So Caitlin, can you, if something like that comes with one of the boards that are under the commissioners, do you mind CCing the commissioners on that? I don't remember seeing that.
Yes, no, you guys did not see it. I was talking.
Can you share that with us next time?
Yes.
Because I feel like an idiot not knowing what you're talking
Well,
about.
no,
So
but I
I'm
think
sorry.
that's one of the things that I mean, I know we're gonna have to go through a bylaw change when we get this new marketing manager and all that, but that's why I keep saying we have to have these conversations, not just when a problem arises. We have to work together and plan some of this stuff, so we understand what your limitations are, and you understand what our requests are, right?
It was fairly expensive.
Yes, that was I can pull up that.
And I'm not saying we would have said no or yes. We didn't know about it, so it's hard to.
And I think the reason you didn't was because of the time frame.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
so
you probably would have.
It would have been, registration alone was $2,200 just for the registration. So that's not including the hotel stays, the travel, the meals, anything like that. And again, I'd spoken about it with Tom and with the short timeline of it. That's
Yeah, we can look into it the next time.
Yeah, and I didn't remember, or maybe didn't know, that there was a 30 to 60 day window that we needed to apply that for. And so when we talked about it in June, we could, at our June meeting, we could have more quickly turned that information around. It was just a learning curve for us. But it was also kind of confusing because now you're saying it's expensive, but we had outlined a travel plan for a conference, all of the travel, whether we think it's expensive or not for a conference, all of that was budgeted in our budget that was approved by LTAC and by the county a year, 8 months ago. And so I think it was just confusing to have people say, oh, it's expensive when it was still within the budget we had set aside for it.
So I would push back on that a little bit and say this. First, I wasn't aware of the budgeting, right? I'm just now starting to become involved in some of this. But just because it's in a budget doesn't mean that we have to think about it from a stewardship perspective. Most of the conferences that county employees go to are maybe $300 or $400 for registration. So when you see $2,200 for registration, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and from a stewardship standpoint,
Sure.
we have to consider that. And then that's not the hotel or food. So you're going to be pushing $3,500 to $400 or $4,000, $4,500 per person. I can tell you that when I've wanted to travel as a department head with the county, I have to be able to prove that I'm bringing value back. And a lot of times our travel is disapproved. So we just have to, we're conscientious of that. So it wasn't meant to be like a smackdown or anything like that. It was kind of a surprise. I was like, oh, that's a spending conference.
Yeah. Again, a conversation. I'll tell you, I went traveling with the Wallach School District to Orlando a week and a half ago. And our travel was covered by a grant that the health district has. They made all the travel arrangements. And it was a nightmare because we had problems getting home. It took me 24 hours to get home from Orlando. We had 3 kids with us. And it was because we weren't on the reservation. And so when the flights got canceled and we got rerouted to O'Hare, we had to spend the night in the airport because we couldn't change our flight thing. So I would just say, if we ever ask about flights, work with us so that we can figure out if there's an emergency, we aren't stranded.
So going forward, then we would need to show that a $2,000 or $1,500 registration fee for a conference like this is standard within the industry. Because I assume too that the county people going to county things are also other things that county people go to, and therefore it's all kind of priced for government workers.
Yeah, and even then though, it's not always approved. It just depends on the budget.
But you don't have travel. See, I'm just looking it up right now, but so the $2,200 sounds like a lot, but you don't have airfare, you don't have car rental. So I just didn't know about it. So not that I would have approved it or not, but again, we're talking about something I had no knowledge of.
Sure.
So
No, I'm just trying to clarify a little bit, because do we even try to go to one again unless it's $300?
Yes. Yeah, my suggestion, and I'm not speaking for the commissioners, okay? As the county administrator, I can speak to this.
Right.
But I would say that every one of them is looked at individually. It's not always guaranteed, but it's also not always denied.
But
So
maybe in that case, it was above a number, like a low, if it looks like a lot of money, which $2,000 is a lot to me too, but maybe at that point showing some comps.
So, and I will.
In the industry,
again,
so that you can quickly learn about the.
Maybe, yeah, I would say maybe. Nothing's a guarantee. And so I'm hearing a lot of, I want to know if we can even do this in the future, and this was in our budget. I don't know who was in your budget process. We do have a county commissioner saying she didn't know anything about it, so that would tell me that she wasn't part of that budget process and wasn't aware of it.
To clarify too, this specific conference in Portland was not discussed during the 2025 budget planning. So that was a concern that I had expressed to Tom when he and I had talked about it, was that this was not a conference that was pre-planned, and it was not discussed at a tourism committee meeting until July 1st. And then by the time I had gotten to reviewing it, the conference date was the 21st. So it would have been a walk-on with.
So not a no, but also not, again, like every other conference that every county employee goes to, it's every one of them is taken. I mean, we request it before we go. We usually know, I mean, it's a little bit different in our case because we know about them almost a year in advance always. And it's always kind of a topic of conversation. So that just needs to get to the same point.
I would say the reason it was probably denied is just because of lack of timing. But we're sending 2 people to a conference and it's $6,300 for 2 people. And one is $1,600 for 1 person. So kind of the estimated cost. So
So it's a range.
I have a feeling it's definitely doable. It was just I would say
Timing.
timely and
It's
lack
timing more
of
than anything.
just getting it on. And we try to have a 30-day, just so we know if it's out of state. We have
People can plan.
done it sooner than that. It used to be, I think, 90 days, and our coroner was
definitely
like, I
look
gotta
at
go
next
to
year.
training, can I go to training? I'm like, well, we can, the farther out it is, the easier it is to plan. So if you're planning on something, just get it approved.
Well, and
Prior.
what I'm hearing is we need to do a little bit better job of our internal planning anyways, right? We know we have certain deadlines on certain things, right? But even when we went to do something as simple as the Gorge concert ads, we had a little bit of trouble getting started, right? And so we lost part of that season. But now we're in the loop with them, so next year it's going to be a lot easier to get those things done, so.
And hopefully we have that new marketing person before November. It took us a few months to get our new clerk that just started today. Our deputy clerk just started today.
Oh, good. Finally, some relief for
She's
little
probably in her
Caitlin, who's
office.
been
We'll be
doing
in her
double
office
duty for a
later
long
this
time.
afternoon. She's been with HR this morning,
Yeah.
so.
And yeah, and in the future, I just won't have to worry about it because there will be a marketing manager who will be doing.
To do all the
I
research
would
and
say
stuff.
that time is of the essence. Just, it was
And
kind
I
of a
think that's
late
part of it too, is like,
afterthought.
we just look at all these projects and ideas that we had up in the air that we've just had trouble working through with our team. And now there is, even less of a team. And so I know I took that project on for myself and probably just shouldn't have. So, but now we've had this conversation, so it's still positive.
Right.
Anything else you guys have, or?
Well, are we gonna talk about the job description at all?
Or was there
We
anything else
can.
on the
Okay,
list?
I didn't have number 4. Yeah, we can.
That was.
I'm locked out of my computer. I've been trying to get on. So let me see if I can, once a day I get locked out. Apparently I'm sketchy.
The job description was approved by the board and it is now with Human Resources
Right.
for
I was gonna say, I
wage
thought we
scales,
were-
right?
Still locked out, so. Let me put
Well,
myself on and look at
I
it.
just want to kind of go on record. We started this conversation for an employee, I think with you in the room at an executive session last September. Because we kind of some of us were feeling that the way it was going, using a contractor wasn't the best interest of everything. And so I'm pleased that we're making headway in that. I know that some of us are a little bit concerned on the size of the scope of work in this job description. And it looks like it's more than one body to be able to do this. And so I personally was hoping we would see a more simplified tourism manager thing and the PR thing maybe coming down the road as an add-on once that person got in line. And so I just wanted to say that. I think that we're doing a good job of talking to everybody on what we started with your department, remember, with just even reviewing a contractor. And so I appreciate that we're doing that. And I know that sometimes we come in from outside the system, but I think that's why we're a citizen advisory committee that you've appointed to bring in other perspectives and maybe another look at ways that we might be able to, as they say, build the mousetrap a little different. And so, I don't know, is there a chance that we can pare it down a little bit? I mean, I went on just ChatGPT and came up with a really simplified version of what you guys put together that I'd at least like to enter into the mix for consideration. Because I think you're gonna have a problem trying to hire one person to do all that you've got in that job description. That's just my take on it.
I don't know. I disagree with that a little bit. I think we've done a lot of research and a lot of our own legwork into this too, a lot more than just a ChatGPT.
I understand.
It's not simple, especially in county government, and sometimes things do take a long time. And we do have needs within the county itself that lend itself to this position, and positions within the BOCC office where this thing falls. So it's not, I don't want to degrade the amount of work that was done by the HR department and the number of people.
I don't
that
either. I don't
look
either.
into this. So, and I think it's sitting in a good place. And I think we need to, take what has been looked at by the commissioners, by everybody else, and kind of run with it and see what we get.
Okay.
That's my feeling. So I don't.
Yeah, I think it is very comprehensive, and it was designed to be comprehensive so that it wasn't just pigeonholed for the one thing. I mean, we want it to be able to do some of the, if time allows, of course, some of the other things that the board is requiring, like the PR stuff. Like currently, we don't have somebody who manages a web page to get, for the board to get information out to the public. And so having it kind of within the one role it makes sense to me, and in my research with other counties throughout the state and in the Northwest, they kind of had that.
No, I totally understand.
And I would add as well, a lot of times our job descriptions are really all encompassing and very comprehensive, and
Yeah.
people get into those roles. They may only touch on some of that stuff and they grow into it over time. It's not always an expectation that you're a subject matter expert in every bullet point on this piece of paper, because then I think that is difficult. So, but you still have to have some expectation of what it can be, you know, and find that right person.
No,
So-
it's gonna be what it is. I understand that totally, but I also feel a responsibility to say, just look at it a little bit different sometimes. That's the only thing. I mean, we started with you, right? At the gorge, so we got a long way since the gorge, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the whole idea behind that is to find the best qualified person we can find.
Right, right.
So that's the route we're going.
Okay. Perfect.
So we shall see.
Yeah, is it posted now? It's posted now?
No, I'm doing the comps right now for the
Okay.
wage study.
Okay. Good.
Working on it this morning.
So we'll just kind of limp along, loving Caitlin's support as always, realizing that she's got a lot of other things, and we'll try and make our activities not cumbersome anymore to her than they normally are.
On that sort of different note, it's not really related necessarily. We are gonna have quite a large budget left over this year. Even setting aside 2 or 3 months of salary for the new person. We'll have our travel funds, our registration funds, we'll have some of her salary, our previous marketing contractor left over. Do you have any recommendation on how you'd like us to spend that? Do you want us to spend it? It's
You're out
probably
of
gonna
outside of
be-
current expense, so you are kind of like your own silo. So the
Yes.
funds that are in there will roll over into next year.
No,
They're grant fund. It's all LTAC grants, so anything that they don't spend by the end of the year is
Oh.
returned to LTAC.
yeah, it's.
Spend it or
Okay.
lose it.
It's all LTAC. Okay, so I
Yes.
guess use it or lose it.
So.
Sorry about that. I was
So
thinking
we
that
should
Does-
probably put together a plan.
And I'm not advocating for this, I'm just asking the question. So when it's use it or lose it, if you don't use it, it goes back to LTAC. Does LTAC roll that over and our grants increase the
LTAC
next
will,
year?
yeah, the
Yes.
following year, and they have, I believe we're supposed to be meeting and kind of give direction on LTAC on, I don't understand and I don't agree with some of their distribution of funds. Because some of our, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, we just want to understand because I know that LTAC has cut tourism over periods of time. And so, you know, that either tells us we're not doing our job or we're not explaining our job that we're trying to do. And so that's a little bit on us, but we just, again, need to understand the process so that it doesn't bite
And
us.
I feel that tourism should be getting a big chunk of that.
And outside of a printer and, you know, the travel planner, do you have ideas on what you would spend that on for the rest of the year? Do you have internal ideas?
Well, I guess first I'd ask Caitlin, because she's the intermediary right now. Do we know, did we get everything done with the influencers that came in? And what other stuff we've got going? We've got social media going still.
Yeah, the social media is just that monthly invoice. The second influencer, I believe, she'll be getting me the deliverables here within the next couple weeks. And then once the deliverables are received, that's when we would pay her out. And I believe she's under $5,000. I want to say it was like 2,000 was maybe what her total was. And the other influencers, you know, they've come and gone. The social media manager already has all of theirs, so that all finalized before Rochelle left in June. So that's the only.
So I think, sorry, Caitlin. I think one thing that we have talked about is just continuing to gather marketing materials. So having new photos being taken, it feels like we don't have that many photos of all of the like outdoor excursions that can be done in all the different locations they can be done. Like we do have somebody supboarding on Soap Lake, but we don't have somebody supboarding at all the different locations. And so I think creating new production of new materials like that would be a worthwhile thing that we can spend money on. Also paying local contractors to do both photography and maybe videography. We spent, I think, 18,000 last year on
That was a grant.
photography, on videography. So looking at photography and videography and maybe influencers.
Maybe use Jim's video.
But we're all,
Usually rodeo guys are very rodeo centric, but definitely, yeah.
Jeremy's
well, and
easy, he'll do whatever.
the difficulty that at least I personally believe we've had that we won't have going forward is all the assets that we've paid for with public funds will now be actually in the control and archiving with the county. And before they resided more with the contractor. And so I don't even know what we need because I don't really, we don't know necessarily what was the direction given to some of those subcontractors because the marketing manager handled that. And so that puts us in some regards at a disadvantage when we're trying to shift like this and make a decision. Do we really need more pictures? I don't know. We might have gazillions that we could use and some of them would be timely. Some of them.
I've reviewed most of the photos that have come in. There's
Yeah,
a shared
okay.
Google Drive
Yeah.
that we could see all the photos that came in through Jeff's photography. Caitlin, I do have a question. Is our social media manager, did they have access to the photos and videos?
I believe Rochelle gave them access, yeah.
Okay.
And then I have the separate hard drive that's got all of the digital assets that were gathered during Rochelle's contracted time, so.
Okay.
Do we know at some point if that's something that IT will store off that drive so that it will always be in county control or accessed by us if we needed that to say, well, what do we got that's
We
like
just
this?
need to have access it and have it backed up somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Well, we will put together a couple options then for spending that, our leftover money, if you think that might be approved.
Sorry, I thought it was in a silo, so.
You're like, spend it all, honey.
Yeah, or carry, yeah, well, carry over,
How
but
hard
the
will it be
LTAC is definitely, if you don't use it.
How hard will it be before our next meeting for you to get a handle on what that dollar amount is? Will that be tough?
It shouldn't be too hard, no. When Emily pays out your guys' AP batches, she updates it real time, so it shouldn't be too challenging. The
And then
one portion that I can't guarantee is the actual true payout of the wages and benefits for my part. It just depends on the expense reports that get posted, if it runs through the full duration of the time that my wages were out of your guys' budget. I have the estimate, but I haven't seen a true hard, like, final number, so hopefully we'll have that. But it shouldn't be too far off from the estimate that you guys have had, so.
So this tourism person, will it be listed in the 114 budget the same way that her salary was as it affects us? Do we know that?
Tourism, the intent was for it to be paid entirely out of LTAC.
Oh.
And I believe you guys were aware of that when you created your 2027 budget. Yeah, because you don't have anything budgeted for 2027 for wages and benefits.
I guess I have one more question. I'm so sorry. I know we're at our time. I had asked if I was allowed to directly contact our contractors, and I was told no. I think that was my impression. And so I just wanted to make sure, like, if we do want to, like, how do we go about this now? If we say we want to do $20,000 of photographs, or are we allowed to reach out to folks
Well, I think
and
at
tell them
this
there's an
point,
opportunity?
until we have an employee in place, we really don't know. That's my opinion.
But you should be able to, well, I mean, I think if Caitlin's ever, keep Caitlin in the loop, so if you've
Well, we
been-
were hoping, it's more Caitlin driven than us driven. We're just hoping to be in the loop, I think. a
And
little
the
bit more.
direction that was given by the board, which I have communicated to you guys, is that I was the point of contact with the chair CC. And we did have that one blip where the social media manager had emailed me. I just didn't look to see if Sean was CC'd on it. But I have contacted her and I did CC you in that,
Yes,
and I
I've
have
been
CC'd you
receiving.
in the last correspondence as well, so the chair's involved, but that was the direction I had received from the board. If you guys would like to change that though, I mean, just let me know, we'll flex.
Yeah, because it felt like to me I wasn't supposed to, or I wasn't necessarily supposed to respond on behalf of myself or the committee as chair, saying like, hey, this is great, but can you do this or this? Like, I'm not supposed to be following up with decisions from the meeting. That's Caitlin, and then I'm just CC'd to watch things happen. I'm just clarifying that that's.
Yeah, because we're cognizant about her workload as well, and we don't want to be a burden either while this deputy, while the other clerk gets up to speed and while we're waiting for this tourism. Because she's really good at what she does to support us.
So I'm still getting used to this board right out, but, and maybe I'm not meaning to overstep, but maybe ask the right question, or you can clue me in. Is it an advisory committee or an action committee? Because that sounds like actionable stuff, not advisory stuff.
Well, we've changed it, because it
So,
used to be.
okay, I don't
this
know,
kind of-
so.
we've
It's
changed
advising.
it.
It's tourism
but-
advising committee.
But we still have to have knowledge
Yeah,
of
I would
the
think that if you
information.
wanted something to change, I don't know why you couldn't respond to the email, or if you have to do a completely different email to Caitlin. To me, it just seems like it would be responding to the entire email with the three of you involved, but.
What's
I-
easiest
That
for
very
you,
much
Caitlin?
makes sense, that if we're an advisory committee, that's not an action committee. So I'm not supposed to be speaking on behalf of the.
And I'm just asking, so.
No, and that makes sense. I'm not familiar with all the different lingo and what they mean, and so I just wanted to clarify. So I shouldn't be responding directly to contractors, even though
Well,
I'm CC'd in the group. I would separately send my question
No, I
to
think you could
Caitlin or
send
the
them,
board,
I
and
think
then
you,
she would
I don't know.
speak.
This is new to us too.
Okay, but as we get a new employee that's gonna be handling this,
Right.
this is all probably gonna change, and that employee will talk to Caitlin, Caitlin will bring it to us. I mean, ultimately, we make the decision.
Well, I think it wouldn't even be
Yeah.
Caitlin, probably the employee will come directly to us.
Yeah, we would hope that we would be a partner at the table with the
Absolutely.
manager,
I think
obviously,
you
right?
are a partner
Yeah.
in, as an advisory.
And it's just hard because we
Sure.
have $50,000-$60,000 to spend over a multitude of, possibly multitude of contracts for photography, videography. So,
Hopefully
I
this
don't know how
process
many
is
that
all
would
gonna
be.
change.
but
have
we
an
can, we
employee.
need to do this before November.
Yeah, we have a
This,
list of
these have
things
to
that
be
we're gonna have to,
approved
yeah.
to spend
So
by
for this-
November,
for the
which means
remainder
all
of
those.
This year, then
yes.
you guys need to come up with a plan and bring it to us so we can figure out what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and
That's
that's,
where I believe
and
we're at
that's
right
you
now.
guys spending money. That's right.
That's the committee
Advise-
suggesting.
Yes,
Correct.
sending the contracts forward, right.
That invoice is get paid out of our office.
Okay.
Well, and one of the things that I want some clarity on as well is the tourism person. Will they have the restrictions that Rochelle had, like or will they be allowed to sign contracts for subcontractors?
So typically, all contracting signing authority rests with the BOCC unless that we have very specific, we've got a procurement policy that's very specific as to who can and can't sign contracts. And we have various levels
Right.
of that contract. So I would imagine that person, unless we go through a consent and resolution process, will not be allowed unless the commissioners expressly allow that. So
Okay.
that's something we'll just have to wrestle with when we get there.
Right,
So.
and we're still-
Right, but that's important to us. So if we have a big project we want to get support on, we understand your rules.
Okay, and one more question on me reaching out to people. What about before we're in contract with them? Can I, for instance, I see an influencer that's in Seattle that I think is interesting. Can I reach out to them and say, hey, I'm part of the Grant County Tourism Advisory Committee. We're interested. Can you please send your information for our database to here? Is that something I can do?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Research is
Okay.
fine.
That's
Yeah.
part of
So
the
not
guy-
commitment.
before we're in a contract and certainly not implying any like contracted
right.
or
All the research
agreement
you want, where you have to be careful is that you're not binding the county to something. and
without
from-
binding the county,
Right.
I can do
So-
outreach. Okay, okay,
Absolutely.
understood. I will stop actioning.
I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate the clarification because I think we both have looked at this committee as an action committee and it's not working, you know? And so I think I needed the clarification, this is advisory, and that makes me feel so much more relaxed.
But the commissioners need to know we're gonna do our due diligence regardless to be able to advise.
Absolutely, yeah, and you have every right to do
And
that.
And it absolutely does not depreciate the value of what you bring, absolutely not. That advisory is super important. It's just understanding.
Right. We're not the planning commission,
So,
basically.
And
You
it's just a confusing time right now while we
Yeah.
don't have a marketing
really is. It
contractor.
really
Because
is.
we
But just
see
'cause
so
we've
many
changed-
projects that we're like, oh, we just want to make sure these all go well. And so it's hard for us to, especially us, I think, to not pick up the pieces and try running with them.
Right.
And
We
so
also
we
did
just
make a
have to-
shift, which I think is a smart shift, and that is our planning, we feel should go July to June instead of calendar. Because that way we won't be behind the curve and get something to market in time for the season. So we're gonna make that internal shift, at least the way we approach
Hope
things.
The marketing manager does.
And the work product is a lot different, but correct me if I'm wrong, this is a lot like the Fair Advisory Committee, right? I mean, the Fair Advisory Committee gets together and they advise, but then Jim, so I don't know
Yeah,
if either of
those
you
two
are on the
Jim.
Fair Advisory.
They kind of
Committee,
plan the party or the fair.
Yeah.
And they will if they find entertainment, they will bring it to the group and say, hey, I found some entertainment, or I think we should go here. Bring it to the group, they kind of vote on it and then send it over to the office to book it or the next steps.
Yeah, I think it's just a little different because they actually get to go to the party they plan. We are perpetually planning a
Well,
party
and there's a
that
definite
we never
date,
get to go to.
there's a
So
date
it's a
for the
little
fair
different, yeah.
and that, right? I mean, we're a 12-month
you're
kind of
ongoing.
fluid thing.
We are
Yeah.
having fun. I love this.
But I
I
would
know
love to
Pam
see you
does
go
too. We
to
really
some,
enjoy it,
yeah,
so.
some marketing conferences or something. So yeah, just get in.
Well, like I said, I think our goal, I think also is to work with all the other people on it that get LTAC money, to make ourselves available to them, saying, if you have stuff you want to share on our very lucrative social media, what can we share about what we're doing on your platforms
See,
as
and I feel
well?
like there needs to be a better connect with the activities that are going on throughout the county.
Yes,
And they haven't always been advertised on the tourism. Bill Burke would be one. I'm like, how come Summerfest isn't on there? I'm like, how come some of the events that you guys
Right.
even sponsor are not on our tourism? I would love to see a very active tourism calendars when you just parades. I would love to figure out where all the parades are in the county.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to track down each individual parade. I would love it to have in one spot.
well, and to me, that's where the chambers can help because they know their communities and they know what's going on, and that's why we have to
Even
dovetail with them.
LTAC knows a lot of communities, or a
Yeah,
lot of events.
yeah.
Are you guys members of the chambers?
Don't ask Pam that. My gosh, Pam recruits everybody to be, you're gonna be a member of the South County Chamber if you're not careful.
Well, that's because we're forgotten at the South End a lot. I mean, No, I think that the chambers, I mean, they're technically a DMO. They're a destination marketing organization, right? And so why we aren't working with them more. But the museums are important and the events are, so that's why it's interesting to sit in on LTAC when they do the presentations, because we find out what is going on.
Absolutely.
And so we've got that now. We know how much LTAC put into the rodeos and some of the other things
Is
and the,
tourism on the LTAC board?
not
is there
technically, not technically. In fact, there's an
No,
open,
none of
You have
us
a member on
yeah.
it?
No.
As a
Caitlin,
user?
there's an opening on LTAC. Did you receive any applicants?
I received one, but
What opening is it?
it's a recipient. So they have to work for an entity that I believe is just eligible to receive LTAC funds. Let me pull up the RCW real quick.
When is the next LTAC meeting?
LTAC is having a kickoff meeting on the 4th at noon.
August 4th.
Yes. Which is the full board wanting to attend?
We are supposed to be giving them our ideas on what direction. Is that the
Well,
one
I
we're
like
supposed
yours
to
that
be-
says give tourism more money. I think that's,
Well, you guys definitely have been cut by a couple $100,000.
yeah.
So it is just it's a minimum of 2 members who are persons involved in activities authorized to be funded by revenue received under this chapter.
Well, it sounds like one of you would be.
Well, I think I know who applied and I think she would be a good person, but
Is she a recipient though?
well, she manages short-term rentals. So I don't,
She's a payer.
she's a payer. But she is knowledgeable of that industry.
But you have to be a recipient.
Yeah, so
There
that
was
would
a
be,
strange follow-up email after her application was received also, which is for discussion with LTAC.
And technically, other people on the committee could be moved around, like Goldie's a payer, but she could be moved to recipient, so
She was
actually.
appointed as a ratepayer, so unless the board wants to rescind and reappoint her as a recipient, she needs to fulfill as a ratepayer. She can't sit as 2.
Official.
I have a public works meeting I have to get to.
thank you, Tom, for your time.
Thank you.
We'll do a better job of communicating what we need.
I will communicate less.
We can all work on communication.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
All right. We're all done then?
Thanks for setting this up,
Thank you all.
Caitlin. Thanks for listening, as always.
Thank you.
All right, there's nothing else.